sanctuary of Delphi is probably the most extraordinary of all ancient Greek sites. Delphi amazes all who visit it. This place is the center of the world. The ancient Greeks called it the omphalos, which means the navel of the earth. Zeus, the father of the gods, wanted to find the center of the universe, so he sent two eagles flying from the opposite ends of the universe. And the place where they met was Delphi.
Welcome to Delphi, Indiana, where our storied past is fueling a stellar future.
Whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation, sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are in danger, when human dignity is in jeopardy, wherever men or women are persecuted, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe.
No, I'm going to go on the record right now and say that they are trying to kill Rick Allen.
Yeah.
They want him to die.
Yeah.
It's like always like in and out, in and out. They don't want him. They don't want us to see
Because
it.
he's my size. Chains and collars and leashes all over.
It's all about optics. You don't have all of those people around Rick Allen because they want to keep everybody else safe. They don't want us to see Rick Allen. They don't want us to look at Rick Allen. They don't want us to see his face and his eyes. Remember when he came in June and he was all doped up and he was dissociative and he was experiencing psychosis from being tortured and starved and sleep deprived and probably withheld his medication. All of these things that they were doing to him so that he would show up looking like a zombie and couldn't protest or assist in his defense. Guess what? The eyes of the world are on them. They're not allowed to do that to him anymore, and they have tried to break him. And Rick Allen, he's not going to break. Look he has done a year in solitary confinement. A year.
He's on the upside of things. Like if he's still alive, he's getting better every day.
His attorneys get thrown off the case, and he turns to his wife and he says, "It's okay. You didn't break him. You're not going to break him. He's not guilty. Whatever they're trying to do, you're hip to it. It is not going to happen."
And at the very end of today's hearing, we heard attorney Andrew Baldwin address Richard Allen's wife directly. He said, "It ain't over. The world is watching. The world sees what's going on."
Journalism. It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Do you have any idea what their defense is going to be, given the fact that the judge is basically taking away their defense?
Am I the only person in the world talking about attacking the timeline, attacking the timeline, attacking the timeline, attacking the timeline?
Do you have any idea what their defense is going to be, given the fact that the judge is basically taking away their defense? Taking away their defense.
Like, am I in crazy? 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 Like, am I in crazy?
Challenge the timeline of the murders.
Talking about attacking the timeline.
What's the strategy today?
Winning.
Winning.
Whose motherfucking hair is that?
What's the strategy today?
Winning.
Winning.
The consensus has been challenge the timeline of the murders. Challenge the timeline of the murders.
Good morning, all you electric werecat truthers. This is Phoenix, reporting live for R&M to read some documents. Should I go through the say good morning to all you beautiful people out there? Susan Skinner, hello. Ems, I love Ems. Redneckzilla, love that guy. Rose, post-punk mama. Got Dawn. Clinton Hall. He's always in line. Dr. NB. Hammy. Hammy be doing memes. BG, OG. HCC. Criminal Network. Let the fuckery begin. That's right. We're doing some fuckery. There's a lot. There's plenty of fuckery to go around, guys. Salty Sleuth, hello. Mayhem, good morning.
What the hell is going on here?
What's up? Do you want to read instead?
No, I just want to know why. I want to know why you're taking over my channel, bro.
Tommy Bernhard. We're communists, so this is our channel.
Oh, you're right. It is the community's channel. We're redistributing the power to the people. Redistributing the wealth. Yeah, Susan, tell him. Fiend, be nice to me, dude.
I am nice. I'm so nice that Angela Gano blocked me and then unblocked me like 5 minutes later because she realized.
She really was thinking about that, huh? She's like, man, I don't know. That guy seems all right. Maybe I shouldn't.
Well, it did, because you can scrape a lot of information from me.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of information, but not Rick's fucking military service, huh?
No, exactly, dude. She's among the people I tried to reach out to. I mean, dude, I tried. I really tried.
Right. We did a communicate, or we did a communism. And Andrea didn't intervene.
Yeah, that was pretty badass. I
agree.
Was up way too late, and
you caught it?
Right when it happened? Got it right when it happened. I was like, "Holy shit, yes!" Like, I'm like, dude, that's a fucking hero right there.
And nobody was up, so you're just pacing around with your phone in your hand like usual?
Yep.
Do you own an office chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm usually sitting in an office chair.
Oh, okay. On your phone?
Yeah.
That's nice. Dragging and dropping. Yeah. You can. That's what you could do with files these days.
Yeah. I mean, I'm aware.
Well, I know you're aware, but I don't know if Jeff knows.
It's a new day.
Yeah, so she filed that. That's cool. I think she also tapped her on the shoulder and said, I've been looking into you, lady. I heard about the OA. I heard what the Supreme Court.
I think everybody tried to tell her initially, but then she caught up to speed really, really quickly. Because to anybody that knows what's going on, I mean, you know what she's doing ain't right.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Like
this is why there's conspiracy theories about judge working with the prosecutor and that sort of stuff, is because it's fishy.
Yeah, it's big fishy, dude. Big time, How many people? 156. Okay. There's a motion in Limine. I think it's pronounced Lemon.
Yeah, do we want to read that one? It's short and sweet.
Just like you, Fiend.
Hey, I'm taller than Rick Allen.
Yeah, I figured. Have you seen some of the pro state people's posts lately?
Probably not a lot. I mean,
oh, dude, they're so fucking funny, man.
I mean, I've seen some like Twitter arguers. I'm mostly on Twitter. I don't like.
Yeah, we got some Twitter beef with a similar person. It seemed like.
Which one? The Delphi crimes or something? Crime stuff? Oh, I blocked that. I blocked that guy immediately. Almost like he said one thing, and I was like, I'm not even looking at that.
Yeah, see, I try not to block people, and then I just end up arguing with people too long, and then I'm like, what did I do to myself?
Right.
They got me.
I was doing that yesterday with that guy with the ballistics. The tool mark analysis is ballistics but I mean, he was so close. It was like, yeah, it's projectiles in motion.
Yep.
That's what ballistics is. Like, that's the element you're missing here, bro.
Yeah, bro. The element you're missing is the dowel rod, in the fucking car seat. That's the element that they're fucking missing.
Right.
Yeah, Criminal Network, you're right, dude. Criminal Network, aka mainstream media over here. Chilling with the boys. Jury sees crime scene pics today.
Well, there was different reporting, and it seemed like this information was like telegraphed to the media over the weekend, but they waited till this morning to like blast it. And there was a varying reporting. Some said they could see the crime scene photos. Some said they absolutely would see the crime scene photos. Like, who knows? It's like a game of telephone, and that's the way they want it.
Yeah. Yep. Game of telephone. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see. Anybody else dropping any truth bombs in the chat here? Oh, I also thought it was funny that she kind of briefly mentioned the local public not getting access to. I think that was good. So
oh, yeah. Dude, that was always like, I mean, I sympathize with that, like,
for sure.
Like first and foremost, like when you define public trial, like if like the people that live right there, you might live a block away from the courthouse and you can't go to the trial, then it's not fucking public.
Right. And if you're like the family and you're number 11 in the family, but you still want to watch trial, or if you were just a friend of theirs in school or a teacher of theirs, or you just gave a fuck about the community and part of the community, you don't get to watch it either.
Right. Exactly.
And it's not YouTubers' fault.
No, it's not. It's not. And like, I mean, some of like, I mean, given the depth of the like legacy media coverage, like, I mean, if you didn't have some of these YouTubers in here, you wouldn't be getting almost anything.
No, and that means the family wouldn't be getting stuff that weren't there. Local people in the community, like Andrea's reach, you can't quantify it just in views because somebody's going to screen record 5 seconds and send it to their friend and be like, see, this is what's going on. I told you. Or they're going to go, I heard this, and they're going to tell somebody else. I mean, that's how it is with media in general. You don't know for sure how many people are actually interacting with the media just by views, but how many local people are watching Andrea?
Yeah, and there's also Lawyer Lee there. She's been in for like every session, I think, and she's got like twice as many followers as Andrea, I think.
For sure.
yeah, it's important. And even in like some of the smaller ones, like even if you're talking about local, hey, maybe some of these local people do watch more local YouTubers and their reach isn't nearly as far, but it might be more relevant to local people. I think as long as they're like getting in there and, you know, giving an accurate description of what is happening, you know, without overly interpreting, like that is also good.
Right. Is irritability a sign of Alzheimer's? I don't know.
It can be.
Is it? Okay. Because that's what I see it as, more like an agitated state than confused. I don't know anything about Alzheimer's. I know a lot of people have experienced it in person and, you know, with the loved ones, so I don't want to speculate what it's like, but I always thought about it more as like a confusion and like which I guess could be frustrating, but I see goal more as like a extremely agitated person.
I could see that. I mean, she does come across as easily agitated, but she also comes across as kind of like a little bit, what's the word for it?
Stupid.
Fascist, authoritarian. She's like, you know what? I don't care if they are taking photos of the jurors or not. I'm gonna just slam the hammer down so these people know what's up.
Yeah, let me get that camera, dog. How about now?
Because once you show your force, then no one else is gonna fuck with you. They'll be obedient little media weasels.
Oh yeah, they're wheezing out, dude. Going out of their way to wheeze. Yeah, Andrea is the boss. She could be my boss. Violence is part of dementia. No shit. Okay, see, I'm glad I prefaced this by saying I don't know anything. State doesn't want the jury to have their own evidence. Yeah, they're altering this shit, right? So the court prohibit the state from eliciting testimony as to the words and sound allegedly contained in the video reviewed from LG's cell phone. So they're saying we don't want people to testify, like say a cop, to say it says XYZ, right? Because that's kind of fucking very prejudicial because you're telling that they're asking for something that's going to be used against them, but they're not an expert in, you know, audio analysis and in enhancing the audio, right?
Right. You want to just go read through it, like so to preface anything, just say like, you know, a lot of the initial reaction from like even saw from like some journalists was that, you know, this is a motion to eliminate to keep the audio and video out, which clearly they did not go on to read it. So should read it.
Yeah, give it a read, dude.
All right. Defendant's motion in limine regarding videos from the victim's phone, which is where the journalist stopped reading. Comes now defendant Richard Allen by counsel and moves the court to prohibit the state from eliciting testimony as to the words and sounds allegedly contained in the video recovered from Liberty German's cell phone. In support of this motion, the defendant states as follows. 1.
Okay, let's do this. I'll read one of them and then you read one of them like in school, right?
Okay.
The defense believes the state will seek to introduce video and audio enhancements of the video recovered from LG's cell phone. Said video was taken on February 13, 2017.
2. The video and audio enhancements contain words and sounds.
3. One of the audio enhancement files received by the defense contains a phrase seemingly uttered by one of the victims, which phrase is repeated on a loop.
4. One of the audio enhancement files received by the defense contains an audio clip of a man speaking, which is also repeated on the loop.
5. The words allegedly spoken by the victim on the enhanced video are difficult to understand.
6. The defense requests the court prohibit the state from eliciting testimony concerning what words are spoken by the girls on the enhanced audio recordings. Next page.
Oops. I'm not in control. I'm going to just pull it up. One second.
So while DB does that one I just read 6, and then the next one 7. That's what the defense is actually asking to prohibit. It's from the testimony concerning the words and sounds, not the words and sounds themselves, not the video and audio itself, just testimony about what words and sounds they hear. Torso, correct. Not only the words and sounds, but any changes to the words and sounds that they themselves put there. Which brings up the point, like, I think they're going to have to explain in detail exactly how they've altered this, because if it's really altered, that's needs to be considered. You gonna read 7?
Sorry, I wasn't ready. I'm trying to pull it up. I have 300 tabs open.
I have like 3,000 tabs open.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
On a phone. Hashtag winning. USA Libertarian says, I have 30,000 tabs open. That
guy's impressive.
That's impressive.
Okay, 7. The defense requests the court prohibit the state from eliciting testimony concerning what sounds are contained in the enhanced video with a man's voice. I'll read the rest of them. The video and audio enhancements appear to be investigatory tools. Interpreting the words and sounds on the enhanced video requires a completely subjective analysis. 10. Testimony identifying the words and sounds on the video is speculative. The enhanced videos were not related to the identification of Richard Allen and as a suspect. Therefore, the sketches are not relevant under Evidence 401. Due to the poor quality of the video, enhanced video, and audio recordings, the prohibitive value is low. The probative value. 13. Allowing a witness to speculate as to the words and sounds on the recording would put ideas in the jurors' heads that would be confusing and misleading in violation of Rules of Evidence 403. It is up to the jury to determine what words or sounds exist on the recording. 15. Additionally, allowing enhanced recordings to play on a loop is repetitive, cumulative, and unduly suggestive. This is from Jennifer Auger. Well done, Jennifer.
So one thing, go back to 11. You think, I think this is a typo, but it's almost like a Freudian slip type of thing. The enhanced videos were not related to the identification of Richard Allen as a suspect. Therefore, the sketches are not relevant. I think they mean videos there, but like it definitely alludes to the same thing that they did.
Sure.
Sketches.
Is this conditioning?
I think it is actually, or yeah. I mean, I think it's a I'm not even sure. It might be a intentional typo. Remember what you just did with the sketches? This is the same fucking thing.
The issue with letting law enforcement opine on what's being said is, even if you play it 100 times on loop for the jury to hear themselves, maybe they hear a thing, right? That's different. Then later, a law enforcement officer goes up there and says, yes, it says guys, right? The issue with that is they're saying in their head probably, well, this person's probably listened to it way more than me. They've probably asked a bunch of people too. So it would appear to me that this person's being credible. Now I'm going to go listen to it. Or it says gun. We don't know. That's the thing. People say it says gun, but does it? What if it says gun? Gun. What if it says, I don't know. And then you just clip. Gun. Cool. See, I'm gonna be a DJ here. Ready? Again. Take out the A. Again. Enhance.
So I've got a couple thoughts on the guys versus girls thing, since that seems to be
too in chat.
One of them, I wonder if the prosecution would like to condition prime. Hey, it says girls, because that way, they're talking to the girls. Because if you're saying guys, you might be talking to some guys, which the state finally seems to have some sort of theory, and it seems that it's a lone wolf theory here, and that it's all Rick Allen all by himself. Yet they're still going to charge the felony murder. So I don't know what the fuck they're really doing. Like, if you think about it, but like their theory and their charges do not match.
The homie Bill says, just like the EVP on ghost shows, most of the time you don't hear anything until they suggest what happens was picked up on recording. It's a trick.
Oh,
much like ghosts, this case isn't real.
Aren't really talking to us? I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, they aren't, but they also aren't really saying that. Your mind is making them say that, making you hear something. It's like with song lyrics. If your friend tells you what the person says, you don't understand it, you may forever say, what's the one really famous one with
excuse me while I kiss these guys.
Yep. Or body in a wishing well. Which one is that?
I don't know if I know that.
I don't know. I can't remember. But there's lyrics where people will think it's one thing. The other Dan is out of money and broke, or like he would like to donate. That's fine.
That's Hammy's favorite misinterpretation of a lyric.
Oh, is it?
Purple Haze one, yeah.
Hammy the meme lord. Why didn't they search Ron Logan's property the day after they found the girls? I never heard of that guy, but I think we should probably look into him. Oh, I see a mouse moving over there. Just a mouse screen across the screen. Did you see that? Oh, your screen's a little bit smaller. My bad.
Yeah. Good eye. There might be a mouse in the house.
Yeah, and then they say his lips don't move. Whoever this gentleman is on the, I don't want to say gentleman,
that's a mind blowing thing where
I agree, because
I think that the 42 seconds and not just the 1 second that we saw probably has some meaning. Like, there's probably some important stuff on there, and they did not show all that to the public.
Well, I would say probably the most important thing is lips are usually attached to faces.
Right.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Are lips attached to faces?
Depends. I think the answer is it depends. It depends on if that
how would my answer benefit or disadvantage the state? If it would benefit the state, no, lips don't necessarily have to be attached to faces.
Well, now that my substitute is here, you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Oh, okay. Bye.
You guys are cooking sketty for breakfast.
Sorry to chase you off.
Have a good rest of your day. I'll be in the chat, anxiously trying to be funny as possible, and please laugh at me. I need it.
Spaghetti and Pop-Tarts. That's
Bye to our baby girl. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. Thank you, Fiend, for streaming with me and starting at least to read this, and I appreciate it. Boone got sick this morning, so we had a bit of a slow morning, but he's doing better. He's fine.
Poor Boone.
He got into the other dog's. The other dog has like rawhide bones. It's like a bigger puppy dog, but yeah, Boone had a wild night last night. He went on a bender and ate a rawhide, which he doesn't normally do. So he has a bit of a tummy ache today.
Poor puppy.
I know. So you want to keep reading? We're almost done, I think, with this, right?
I think we finished.
We finished it.
Limine, yeah.
So I interpret it the same way I think you're interpreting it, which is and I'm sure that the pro guilters or whatever we call them would have their own interpretation that will be wrong, but I definitely think that yeah, I don't see this as them excluding anything in the video. I think that they want the raw, unaltered video, and they're trying to exclude any witnesses from interpreting and telling the jury what it is that is being said by anyone on the video, like what words are being said, right?
I think mostly, I think that it probably has to be the enhanced video, but they don't want it on a loop. That's for sure. And they're definitely asking to prohibit. No, you can't put a witness up there and tell the jury what it says.
Right. Like, it's crazy enough that the police did that in the first place, you know, that the police like,
they came out and said, they didn't say, here's the video, audio, hear what do you hear? They're like, it says this. Like,
crazy.
But you ruined the whole thing.
That's a crazy thing to do. Yeah, because like DB said, that is literally, you're implanting what it is that you hear. And so there's an exercise that we do about implicit bias in like counseling or like social work or whatever, like programs, where it's like a pretty common one. And it's really just an implicit bias exercise where they play just kind of like they play an audio clip, and it's just like mumbo jumbo, like not words, but just like noises and maybe words that are distorted. And they ask everybody to write down what it is that they could be hearing. Hi, Mama. I didn't say hi to everybody, and I'm so sorry. I know Fiend did an Ange. So I appreciate it, but I'll loop back around in a little bit and say hi to everybody. Okay, so Hammy knows. Yes, that makes sense. So like they'll play something, you write down what it is that you think you hear, and then what they do is they say, okay, now here's what's being said, and they tell you what's being said, and then they play it again, and that's what you hear. You hear that. You know, does that make sense? Like you hear differently once you're given specifics of what to listen for, then you can hear that. So like, what would I have heard on the BG video audio? I mean, had they not told us before they even played it, you are about to hear 3 words down the hill. Like, would I have heard something different? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm following you. I
know.
agree.
I know you do. Fiend, you've had a busy morning.
Sort of. Oh yeah, a little bit.
Does anybody know if Andrea got in today? Not to interrupt, but I just want to answer this because people were worried. I know that Andrea was in line as soon as she filed that intervenor's motion, which we're going to read together because I've not read the whole thing yet. I'm really excited. As soon as she filed it, she tweeted that she was going to stand in line, and that was like in the middle of the night, like 4-ish, right, Fiend? In the morning?
Yeah, it was just a little bit after 4, and she wasn't optimistic about getting in, but I would expect.
But I haven't heard from her, so I imagine she must have.
I would expect that we would hear from her if she didn't get in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she must be in there, so that's good. So here's what I've heard about the audio, and what from the discrepancies, right, the different versions of the PCAs that the state has filed, they say this in one version, that you can hear one of the victims say something that sounds like the word gun. And however, that version of the what unfolded, that version of the incident didn't make it into, it wasn't in the arrest warrant, like PCA for Rick's arrest. It wasn't in the PC, like the application for the search warrant. It wasn't in any of the official filings, except the only time it's mentioned is in when Nick includes it in like the motion for third party mental health records. He like copy and pastes the PCA in there for some reason, and it contains something about one of the victims says something that sounds like the word gun, which I'm not convinced.
Well, so that's, I mean, hold on. That's the page 8, the PCA, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I did the reconstruction of what it most likely says, but yeah, that's where it was. But the other part of that is, yeah. So right. It's the conclusory statement of the page 8 of the PCA. It says investigators believe Richard M. Allen committed this kidnapping, which is, I think, the reason that they tried to exclude this from public, the public eye, because it only references kidnapping, which resulted in the killing of victim 1 and victim 2, and then goes guys down the hill, blah blah blah. And then towards the very end, he was carrying Sig Sauer Model P226 from the audio from victims 2's video, in which investigators believe they hear the sound of a gun being cycled and one of the victims mentioning a gun.
Right. Yep. And again, like, so the reason, and there's this like wide, hey Adrian, there's this wide misunderstanding of like what this motion is. The media is not reporting on it entirely accurately. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because I assume a lot of them are like there or reporting on other things, but like it's important to be accurate, and the defense is not, and I think I might have confused people the way I titled it on the tweet too, so that's my bad. But they're not requesting that the video be excluded. They're not trying to eliminate out the video or audio. They're trying to eliminate out subjective interpretation being stated as fact to the jury. You cannot state your opinion before the jury is allowed to like formulate their own. So I don't know when the first break will be. I imagine she usually gives them, let's see, they started at 9. She said it's going to be a lengthy day. I don't know, maybe like now-ish. I haven't seen any updates though. So I suspect it'll really depend on like witness testimony. I know they take lunch around noon, if I'm not mistaken. And this is actually, I was actually thinking about this on our walk this morning. I was thinking about the Murdaugh trial. I don't know if everyone in here watched the Murdaugh trial, but I sometimes wonder how my interpretation and my beliefs and my position on that trial, just various occurrences of that trial, I do wonder if and how my perception and opinions would change if I were to watch it now versus before paying attention to Rick Allen's trial and the lead up to it, because some of the things that they did in the Murdaugh trial, that the state did in the Murdaugh trial, I probably would take issue with, honestly, now, having seen like the worst of the worst unfold. And hi Source, I love you, welcome. And I just wonder sometimes, like, would I have a different opinion on the tactics and what Judge Newman allowed the state to get away with? Because somebody said up here, really good comment. And hi, I love elephants. In the Murdaugh trial, the prosecution insisted that Alec Murdaugh confessed the night of the murder and said, "I did him so bad," while the defense and I, says I love elephants, believe he said they did him so bad. And the state was allowed to implant that into the jury's minds. They were allowed to say what it is that they believe he said. And I didn't even think about it at the time as a member of the public watching the trial who, like, I had made my mind up kind of about, like, who I had made my mind up about his guilt probably before the trial even concluded, which we shouldn't do, but we all kind of do it. And so I believed the state. I'm like, oh yeah, he definitely said I did them so bad. But now I'm looking back and I'm like, why would he say that? Even if he did, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Which that illustrates the point of like why you shouldn't have the guidance portion on there.
right.
If you got some audio or something, play it.
Yep.
The jury has to decide for themselves.
Yes. And like we are just in general, like we are so suggestible as human beings. We're very suggestible. Our brain is constantly seeking information and input to latch onto, to assign, to make sense of. So it just makes sense that if we hear something, we're going to have that preconceived kind of, that's going to shape and color the lens through which we interpret and understand things. And it really is a very slippery slope. I like this comment. Cell phone evidence. Dennis McKinney says cell phone evidence was critical in convicting Alec Murdaugh. Now cell phone evidence will be critical to exonerate Rick Allen. I hope so. We shall see. I believe Murdaugh was guilty too, by the way.
That was definitely the argument that Andy Baldwin is making, is that, you know.
Okay, let's do.
The strong stuff is going to be the hard cell phone data.
Okay, so I'm going to play something. Hammy just sent it to me.
It's probably a meme of Andy and Rosie making out.
Yeah, is that what you think?
Sounds like what.
Is she shipping that? Is she doing a fanfic for that? It doesn't surprise me. It's a cozy, beautiful thought. I do believe they are both married heterosexual men, but I'm not going to assume that. I mean, maybe they're both married. I have no idea what they're. Okay.
I think it's overly speculative.
I'm going to play a clip. I hope y'all can hear it. And I want the chat to put in what it is that they hear. And then we're going to give you something to hear and see if you hear it. Does that make sense? Here we go.
Makes
Everybody
sense to
listen
me.
up. I hope you can hear it. Okay, so what do you can't hear it? Damn. How do I? Here's what I'm gonna do. Because if I play it on YouTube, you're gonna see it. Actually. Because the person actually did this one. Can you hear this if I play it, or do I have to share the screen for you to hear it? Can you hear that?
No, now I can't hear anything.
Could you hear it a second ago?
Very faintly.
Okay. This is annoying though, because if I share my screen, it's gonna ruin it. That's okay. I'll figure out a different way.
Just
anyway,
play it on your phone.
I tried to, and it couldn't. Y'all couldn't hear it for some reason.
Oh, okay.
You really can't hear this at all?
Is it on speakerphone?
You can't hear that, huh? That's right.
That's a bit better, but it's just where it's positioned.
Yeah.
Relative to the microphone.
Well, but it's not picking it up for some reason. Send to DB. Okay. DB says send to DB. We're gonna send it to DB, and he's gonna play the audio and not show the screen because it'll ruin it. I swear this is worth it. Okay. Anyway, all of this to say, everyone close your eyes. I was about to ask everybody to do that. I think that we're all honest enough in here, but you know. Oh, link it. I'll get audio out. Okay. What would I do without my friends? I get by with a little help from my friends. Okay. So I haven't heard any updates yet from the court. Has anybody else? Okay, here's a good explanation by Sleuthy on Twitter. While we wait for DB to do the thing. It says, where is? For some reason, mainstream media is off to a horrendous start already this morning with regard to Rick Allen and reporting on the Delphi trial. The defense is not requesting that the bridge guy video and audio on Libby's phone be excluded. They're asking that the state not elicit testimony from witnesses about what is being said and what can be heard. They're asking not to tell the jury what the state wants them to hear, rather for the jury to be able to subjectively determine what each jury member hears on their own. Here's the motion. In my humble opinion, says Sleuthy, enhanced and edited video and audio should not be allowed at all. The entire original 43-second video is what should be played to the jury, not specific sections the state wants them to hear enhanced and looped over and over. Totally. I totally agree. Did you get blocked this morning?
I did, but then I was unblocked shortly thereafter.
Okay, she had a change of heart.
She was short. She misinterpreted it a bit because she was about to be on live TV, but now the tables are turned and I'm on live TV. So
you are right here with me. Is that not what you're talking about? You meant different live TV? You meant actual live TV?
No, I meant this.
You meant here with me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The state already changed it to girls from guys. Yeah.
Well, we don't see. This is where you like everything that you thought you knew has to go out the window because the sketches, forget them.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes down the hill, forget it. I mean, I would speculate that maybe you hear guys at some point, and then later you hear girls down the hill, and they're two separate like points of the audio. That's completely speculative. We'll see what we see, but I do think it's very interesting, unless they're just trying to condition them and say, they want you to hear girls down the hill because if they say guys, the person saying guys might be referring to guys rather than girls.
It's true. Is down the hill even real? It's all enhanced and potentially altered. Yeah, I mean, I just think that anytime the state, the government, the state, the prosecution is submitting evidence to be shown to the jury that will be deciding the guilt or innocence of a person, I just feel that we should really not be submitting anything other than like unaltered, unadulterated, like raw, pure in its original form evidence. Because, okay, well then can the defense submit their alteration and their version of what it says? Like, are they allowed to submit their version of the video and audio? Seems like they should be able to.
Right. A very fuzzy, like, dynamic there.
Yeah. Elena says, I think we all need to hear the whole video and what's on it, and then we should be able to see what is said. Yeah. I think that they were taken away and brought back because no way the family didn't see them, says KT Berg. Yeah, I think we'll probably hear a lot more testimony about what area was searched, who saw what, who didn't see what. So true, Angela.
I think that they've made some headway on some of that. And
yesterday,
I mean, I thought it was really interesting that like we heard for the first time that where Derek went to, and like, he goes to they call it the ravine, but it's hardly a ravine, but it is still a hill. Like it's an area. It's a fairly steep hill to cross the erosion like drainage ditch that comes down from the cemetery, and it's completely understandable why he didn't cross that. It's not as understandable why nobody ever crossed it, or nobody ever went down on the other side from the cemetery where you don't have to cross it. And like those would have been easy things for somebody to do. That's unclear. But I mean, I do understand why he didn't cross it.
Right. Allie made a good point. Libby's dad was shouting for them. If they were there, they would have heard him and probably screamed. Yeah, assuming that he arrived before the state is claiming. What is the state going to claim, that they were certainly dead by the time Libby's dad arrived? Like, they can't prove any of that. They can't prove their case, in my opinion. Carol says, oops, I lost it. Hi, Carol. Maybe they changed it to girls because of the age of the jury. These days, girls are called guys, and the older people might not grasp that. They could have, there's a lot of reasons I can think of that a party might want to suggest something one way or another to jurors, depending on, what they want the jurors to believe, take away from. This is an interesting theory. Actually, Brad Weber, I'm not speculating on anyone's guilt or innocence. I'm saying it's very concerning to me that Brad Weber, who we know was there that day, according to him, after the girls were abducted, but I've not seen any evidence of that yet, but we know that he was there. He had access to the property. His mother lived there all his life. He has a concerning history of taking young women hostage at gunpoint for trespassing. And they tested his gun and it could not be excluded. So those are just like facts that we know. And yet Rick Allen is sitting in the defendant chair. Isn't that interesting? Did anyone hear Libby's dad yelling for them? Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Place. What are we saying he does? He does. Chasing people on four-wheelers. Yeah. Journalists, reporters that come onto his land or around. Did they compare Brad Weber's gun to fired rounds? Good question, DB. I think hopefully we'll hear more about what they did, what kind of exact analysis. Did they do the exact same analysis that they did for Rick? I don't know. It's a good question. Can we read Andrea's motion? I'm dying to read Andrea's motion, her intervenor motion.
I've got an update.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
It's from my favorite person. It's from Angela Ganote. Delphi Murders New. This is the first time we've learned on the record that one of the recordings from Libby German includes something said by either Abby or Libby. Oh, well, she's talking about the motion in Limine. Damn it. Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, we know that one of the victims says something. And apparently in the
so number 6, words are spoken by the girls.
Yep. And apparently what the
well, just because it's on a filing, even if it's from the defense, just because it's on a filing, I don't know. You hear words or sounds, like what exactly are you going to hear?
Right. Sorry, I'm just sharing this, and then I want to read this because I'm so excited to read it. I've been screaming about intervenors. Oh. Okay, DB's gonna do the exercise for us. Is everybody listening? Here we go. All right, y'all, put in the chat what you hear. Cops invade privacy. Italian football fans. That is embarrassing. Lattes, Marcy, boxes in motion. Lot is embarrassing. Vouches in Mercy. Lattes in Marcy. I hate Morrissey. That is embarrassing. 56656 in motion. Odin first. Odinist meeting. Apples and oranges. God save Saint Morrissey. Seems like the jury ought to be able to listen to the audio with headphones. Hi, Michael. I agree with you. Bar shit in bar shit. Lost in St. Morrissey. Lattes embarrassing. Lattes embarrassing. God gives mercy. Okay. So what if I tell you now to listen to it again and hear that is I hear that is embarrassing. That's what they're saying. So now listen to it again and see if you hear something different. That is embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That is embarrassing. And I don't know what they're saying, but because I said that, it's like.
Yeah, when I hear it just by itself, I hear that is embarrassing. But when I've seen the thing, you've got like a list of multiple choice, and it's like 6 different things, and all 6 of the different things, like if you read it, you can hear it.
Yeah, here, now that we do. Thank you so much, DB, for doing that. I appreciate that. I know that was probably a pain. So now if I play it like this.
That is embarrassing. 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 That is embarrassing.
Lobsters and parsley is my favorite one that they say.
And that makes me hungry.
Source says, God, I'm going to bed. So, I mean, all of that just to say, we're suggestible. Chelsea says, hi, I have been in meetings all day. Why do I have to be employed during this trial? Imagine if you could just, like, watch it later. In your own time. In the comfort of your home. Oh, no, new post notifications. Nope, never mind. The family's pastor is in the courthouse. On a day, graphic pictures will be shown. This video of people lining up outside beginning at 12:30. Let's see who gets in. What do we got here? Oh, good. Excellent. I was afraid the fucking dangerous, violent felon wouldn't be there. I'm so glad. There's Julie. There's Marv. I don't think this is doxing, is it? Bob. He's not worried about getting in because he's got a pass.
Does he?
Yeah, he's media. He's probably one of the 12. Or, I mean, someone that he's, you know.
Oh, Bob Segal. Yeah.
All right, we got shoes. Cool. We got some shoes. Dude, Rafael Sanchez is such a weirdo. I'll play it over again. I don't know who that is. I know you. Marv, I don't know who that is.
Well, I know who that is.
I don't know any of these people.
No?
Oh, there's Andrea. Okay, good. Andrea and Julie are together, and Andrea got inside. Excellent. That's great news. No, that was actually, I'm not sure who that was, but I know that Andrea and I don't know what this means. DB sent us another little exercise. Andrea is very tall. She's tall and beautiful.
How tall is Lawyer Lee? I don't know. She's tall too.
Deb Lowe just texted me. I wish that Deb could be there, but that's okay. Hi, Deb. We all love you. We do. Post-punk mama says she's 6'14". Angela could knock you. I don't know. I don't know, man. All right, now I really want to read this. I'm going to read it. I'm not going to get distracted. Andrea Burkhart, our muse.
I'm going to dip out for a bit.
Okay, thank you, Fiend.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone say bye, Weird Cat. Thank you, Weird Cat. Love you, Weird Cat. Okay. Andrea Burkhart, our hero, our muse. Brilliant, brave, honest, woman of integrity. Kick-ass boxer. Boxing, right? Not MMA. It's boxing. She's boxing. Or is it jiu-jitsu? I think she's a boxer. She filed a motion late last night, early this morning, in the Carroll County Circuit Court. Motion for leave to intervene and for public access to court records. Yes, Andrea Burkhart filed a motion. Here we go. Andrea Burkhart, pro se, as a member of the public at large, respectfully submits this motion for leave to intervene and for public access to court records in the above captioned cause. In support, Ms. Andrea Burkhart states the following. I am an attorney licensed in Washington and Oregon and a legal commentator on a variety of internet-based platforms. At the time of this writing, I have over 89,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 67,000 subscribers on X, formerly Twitter, and over 1,400 subscribers on Substack, where I provide legal analysis and reporting on high-profile cases, including the subject cause, the prosecution of Richard Allen for the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Tens of thousands of viewers are watching my coverage of this trial and rely on me for detailed information about the trial proceedings, as well as my interpretations and opinions about what is transpiring. Facts. We do be relying. I am not an employer representative of a traditional press outlet such as a newspaper, television station, or wire service, and therefore do not qualify as media within the meaning of Indiana Judicial Conduct Rule 2.7, Comment 2, or Indiana Code 34-46-4-1. Despite overwhelming public interest in this case, the court has repeatedly denied requests. Why do I always suffer when I don't have to? Despite overwhelming public interest in this case, the court has repeatedly denied requests to broadcast the trial to the public, entering orders denying broadcast requests on October 27th, 2023, and May 16th, 2024. The court also denied a request by news media to record court proceedings by order dated September 11th, 2024. And finally, the court denied a request for recording of court proceedings by Wish TV by order dated October 16th, 2024. Number 3, trial in the above captioned matter began on October 14th, 2024, with jury selection in Allen County, Indiana. The trial has advanced to the presentation of evidence beginning Friday, October 18th, 2024. Does everyone have a link to this? I think I shared it. I'll share it again in case you don't. But share it far and wide. Okay. Number 4, because the orders denying broadcasting and recording of the proceedings limit the scope and quality of information publicly available about what's occurring during the trial, I, Andrea Burkhart, have traveled approximately 2,000 miles to be able to attend and report on the trial. That is a really far way to travel. As a result of the trial's inaccessibility to public view, multiple members of the public and the media have likewise traveled to the small community of Delphi, Indiana, in an effort to witness the trial in person. With the court's allocation of reserved seats to the families of the victims, the defense, and the media, there are 24 seats in the courtroom available to the public. Far more members of the public wish to attend than the courtroom can accommodate, which has resulted in long queues outside the courthouse beginning as soon as the preceding night. For example, when opening statements were scheduled to be presented on Friday, October 18th, I arrived at approximately 3:30 a.m. and was already approximately number 22 in line for admission. I have been further informed and believe that members of the local community who have been personally affected by the crime and would like to attend the trial are discouraged from doing so because of the crowds. That is not acceptable. This is me, Angela, opining. That's unacceptable. I appreciate anyone who takes action to do what's right, says Chelsea. 100,000%. I think Andrea sees the thick fog around this case. Yeah, I do too, and it didn't take her long to see it. And she's quite objective. I believe Andrea is capable of being objective in her interpretation and reporting. She's a very experienced trial attorney, and her legal analysis for the cases that I've followed as she's covered them, I find her to be, I don't even always agree with her because I'm far more defense leaning. Like, I probably have more bias and don't reserve it in the way that Andrea is able to in order to like fairly and accurately present for her viewers. And I really appreciate that about her. And the fact that she's including the local community in this, genuinely and authentically, I feel is really important, because I have also seen, locals that I'm friends with. And I mean, I just said Deb Lowe. She literally just texted me. I know she wouldn't mind me saying this. She said, "Hey there, I just saw a video of people trying to enter the courthouse. What a shit show." Deb Lowe is a adult woman who has dedicated her life to covering the truth, investigative reporting, journalism. She was an editor for the Carroll County for decades and decades. She's a local. She lives there. She's invested. She was one of the first people to report on this because she is local, and she can't attend. She's not capable physically to stand in line starting at 3 in the morning and maybe get I mean, if Deb Lowe is not able to bear witness to this trial, then it's not a public trial, like, period. A local editor of a newspaper who's invested, who's been covering this for 7 years, who knows people directly impacted, who has been directly impacted. It's the community she lives in, and she can't even attend. It's not public. Sorry, I don't mean to tangent. I want to read just Andrea's words. Number 6, continuing Andrea's motion. I am aware that Rule 5 of the Indiana Rules of Criminal Procedure requires the trial court to maintain an electronic recording or stenographic record of all oral evidence and testimony, rulings admitting or rejecting evidence, objections, and any other oral matters occurring during the proceeding. The rule requires either a printed transcript or the electronic recording to be produced and maintained as a court record for 55 years in felony cases, such as the present matter. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Under Rule 3B of the Indiana Rules on Access to Court Records, such transcription or recording constitutes a case record because it's an item created or maintained by a court in connection with a particular case. And a case record is a court record under Rule 3A. These are all Indiana rules that she is citing to the judge, assuming Judge Gull knows all of this, but she's really, really citing a lot of Indiana code, and that's excellent. I'm not reading the chat, y'all, so I apologize if I'm missing something, but I will in a minute. Number 7, furthermore, under Rule 3F of the Indiana Rules on Access to Court Proceedings, public access includes the ability to both inspect and copy a court record. So you can inspect and copy a court record, according to Rule 3F of the Indiana Rules on Access to Court Proceedings. Accordingly, public access is denied if the court does not permit the public to obtain a copy of the transcript or audio recording of trial proceedings. Period. Period. I am further aware that under Rule 4 of the Indiana Rules on Access to Court Records are accessible to the public subject to specific exemptions enumerated in Rule 5 that do not apply to the transcription or recordings of the present trial. Under Rule 4D, while the court may manage access to the audio recordings of proceedings to avoid substantial interference with the resources or normal operation of the court, this provision may not operate in order to deny any person the right to access a court record. So, like, the way I interpret that, well, let me just read first and then I'll interpret. I'm not going to do any interpretation if I can help it. Number 9. By this motion, I am requesting copies of the transcription or audio recording of each day of the trial proceeding in this matter, beginning on October 14th, 2024, and continuing until its conclusion with a verdict or other resolution. Notice Andrea didn't say Okay, this is a good point DB makes. I'm interrupting myself, but DB says if you are on Twitter and you see the media claiming that the defense is asking for audio to be excluded, the audio video of BG or whatever from Libby's phone, make sure that you ask the media if that is really what the motion said. Okay, hold them to account. Circling back. Notice that Andrea said she's requesting copies of the transcription or audio for each day of the trial from the start date until its conclusion with a verdict or other resolution, because she's not a biased, crazy lady who's going to say until the trial's over, and if he's convicted, then after a sentencing. Like, no. Whenever this cause is resolved, okay, recognizing that providing the copies will require the use of court time and resources, I am happy to receive the copies in digital format through an electronic medium, such as email, or through a cloud-based information storage provider, such as Dropbox or Google Drive. Alternatively, I, Andrea Burkhart, would be happy to provide thumb drives to the court upon which the digital files can be copied. Based on my own experience, Andrea Burkhart's experience in obtaining and transmitting court records in various formats in multiple jurisdictions, I believe that this would impose only a minimal burden on court staff, as it would require little more than dragging and dropping the digital file already created to the storage medium and notifying me that the file is available to be picked up. Yep, she provided them a solution, a really reasonable solution that a reasonable person would take no issue with. Number 10, I am aware that Rule 2.17 of the Indiana Judicial Conduct Rules affords the court discretion in deciding whether to allow the independent recording or photographing of the courtroom and the broadcasting, televising, or digital streaming of the trial, and I am not requesting to revisit or reconsider the court's orders denying the media's request to allow cameras in the courtroom. However, I believe that permitting the public to witness the trial through the transcription or audio recordings of the proceedings will decrease the distractions in the courtroom and improve the dignity of the proceedings. This is such a good argument. Judge Gull has purported for months, for years now, that the reason she's been denying every motion for access and transparency and broadcast has been to preserve the integrity of the proceedings. And the reality is Judge Gull's total bulldozing of public access, her total blockade of public access and transparency, is creating so much chaos in Carroll County and in the courtroom. Yes, the motion is now in my case, Criminal Network. I don't know if it's like clickable, but it is on my case. And I am going to pin this so that people can access it if they want to. Woman says, preserve my ass. Yeah, right. Dignity and Judge Gull equals oxymoron. Original action happy hour coming. I agree with you, Michael. I really hope, at least. So if Judge Gull denies this, which, let's be real. Yes, Michael, please elaborate. I would love for you to elaborate, though, on this if you have the time and you're willing. That would be so helpful. I know everyone is like very curious as to what happens next. Hi, Angela in chat. Is this something you see the public access counselor Luke Britt commenting on if you ask? Yes, actually, and I believe that Luke Britt has been made aware. He is abreast of the situation. And yeah. So let me finish reading and then oops, couldn't preview. What did I do here? Oops. Here we go. Okay, sorry, y'all. I don't know what happened. However, I believe that permitting the public to witness the trial through the transcription or audio recordings of the proceedings will decrease the distractions in the courtroom and improve the dignity of the proceedings, consistent with Rule 2.173a, by decreasing the demand for access to the courtroom, and will further alleviate the burden on the court and the community resulting from competition for the limited public seating that's necessary for direct access to information about the trial. This will further benefit the community by freeing up the limited courtroom seating for those local residents who have been traumatized by this crime and for whom personal attendance at the trial would be healing. 100%. 100%. I will link Michael. Let me finish reading this, and then Michael, I will link you. I just want to read it, and then we can analyze, because if I bring you up here, Michael, I'm going to ask you questions I'll never finish. I'm almost done. 11. With the commencement of the evidentiary phase of trial, the court has admitted several exhibits proffered by the state and the defense. Let me send it now so I don't forget, though. Oh, okay. All right, Michael, come on up. And then I'll keep reading. Give Michael a link. Happy hour sounds like a good time. Hard to type on phone. Well, DB can certainly relate to that. Could that statement backfire? Which one, Estrella? Dean can't relate. Michael, here's link for you. Yes. Okay. Michael, somebody did a thingy. Finally.
Somebody did indeed do a thingy.
Yeah.
And maybe she was right to do it as a member of the public and just do it through the public records thing, since she wants the recordings as opposed to just be treated the same as the regular press.
Right.
Yeah. But I can tell you that it is absolutely unconstitutional for the regular press. It doesn't matter what the Indiana Code of Judicial Conduct says about the press. She is press. You're press. You know, this business, this credentialed press thing is just
crazy.
It is so unconstitutional. I can't tell you.
I've never seen anything like it before, honestly, in any other case either. It's very bizarre.
Well, it's you know, she thought that way back when with the leak investigation, she thought she could issue contempt orders against, you know, people who had pics, who leaked pictures, who, you know, weren't parties to the case, and if they didn't hand over the goods to Holman and others, she'd issue contempt orders, which she had no power to do. I mean, it's just like, this is
outrageous.
You know,
outrageous.
Well,
So
and it's very hard. So you know, if she files this motion, and it gets denied, the original action, she will have filed the written motion, and it will have been in writing, which original action 2 requires. And see footnote 1 of my thingy. And the remedy of an appeal is inadequate. And if in fact she has some duty, she's sort of required by the Public Records Act to do this, then it's suitable for an original action. I just don't know enough about public records laws in Indiana to tell you what the, you know, but you know, she also shouldn't have to be waiting. I mean, there should be some orderly way of arranging the pressing, a lottery or something else. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't. I mean, I don't know about you all, but opinions differ. But you know, I don't think it should be one bunch of people in the morning and then you run another lottery in the afternoon. I mean, continuity of reporting is important.
Oh, that's a great point,
Michael.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that. That's a great point. So you're going to bring in people in the afternoon to report on maybe they didn't hear the morning testimony, so they don't have the context. And yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I don't think it should even be day by day. I mean, there should be there should be a lottery for all press people. I mean, that includes, the YouTube variety and bloggers. If people are doing it, and like there should be, a lottery for however many seats there are, and those people should be in permanently, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. It's
But
so much
you can,
information.
people, I mean, and opinions can differ on how it can be done. I mean, I don't claim to have this is my take on it. And I have been opposed to streaming the video.
Right.
If the audio is a public record anyway, then streaming the audio, even if people record it illegally, it shouldn't matter.
Right. It's public.
Because the audio is a public record anyway.
Yeah. Michael, can you expand on why? I mean, we don't have to get in the weeds too much, but what is it about streaming video that gives you pause? Because I know you've mentioned that before, and I know that you have experience in trial.
I've watched stream video. I mean, it works pretty well, but I think the problem is so Indiana has its own streaming thing. I mean, I watched the case that Andy Baldwin tried up in Elkhart last spring, and it works really well. But fuck.
Did we lose Michael? We lost Michael momentarily. He'll be back. Oop. There's a linky for Michael for footnote. Yes, Gull was one of the original 4 or 5 judges that were selected to pilot the broadcast. Did Michael drop that bomb? I don't know if he did, but if he did, I love it. Streaming works pretty well. Famous last words. Michael, the link is here for you if and when you are able to come back, but we appreciate you. It sounds like from what Michael said. Oh, wait, he came back and then he left. From what Michael has said, so this would be like step 1, because we're just going to assume the worst, that Gull will deny this very reasonable motion that we're going to finish together. This very reasonable, brilliant, legally sound, well-supported motion. And Michael has adopted the R&M Irish goodbye, which is so wonderful. So anyway, yeah, this is step 1. So we'll see what happens, but it's a good step 1. Okay, 11. With the commencement of the evidentiary phase of trial, the court has admitted several exhibits proffered by the state and the defense. On October 1st, 2024, a coalition of news media organizations filed a motion to inspect the public trial exhibits. By order dated October 16th, 2024, the court granted permission to the media to view the trial exhibits at the conclusion of each day for 15 minutes. The order makes no provision for any member of the public to view the exhibits on the same terms as the access granted to the media. Okay, so this, yeah, and as Michael was kind of now saying, it makes sense that she would file this as a member of the public because even the media, they should box for access. Dead phone. That's okay, Michael, but I appreciate you. If you're able to come back later, we would love that. But oops. It sounds like this is step 1 of what will likely and could result in either a federal injunction or original action but we will have to just see how Judge Gold rules and how she responds to this very reasonable request. And I'm sure there's a lot more. Oh, there he is. Okay. Hey, Michael.
Hey there.
All right. Sorry about that. Or I guess I don't remember
No,
what you were
my
saying.
fault. But my I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention and my phone died.
Ah,
So I was saying, I think I was saying there are just different ways you can. Oh, I was talking about streaming. The problem with streaming is that people can copy. It's illegal to copy the video, but people could. But and you know, look, Fed courts don't have cameras in the courtroom. I just don't think. I mean, it's fun to watch these things, but I just don't view it as necessary. If audio is a public record, then get the audio out. And, that's the law, and she has to do it. I just think that commenting. There's one guy out there, friend of Bob's, and you can have your own opinion, but I don't know. I mean, making farting noises during the video in a death penalty case. I mean, I'm
I
sorry.
see. It's not your personal cup of tea.
I don't know. I mean, people making fun of witnesses, and I mean, yeah.
Oops. Your audio cut out, Michael. There you are.
Yeah.
We're having some glitches, Mr. Osbrook. Some audio glitches.
Huh. Don't know. Am I back?
You're back now. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty close to my router, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot at stake in these things, and I don't know, people out there making. If you can get the information from reporters and I mean, I don't really see a problem with the audio, especially if I mean, you're not going to get it till the end of the day anyway, so it's not going to be contemporaneous.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my personal point of view.
Sure.
I understand. I'm in a wild minority.
That's okay. You're allowed to be. And I think that what you're saying, I don't think anyone would take issue with your issue with how, streaming trials could harm, witnesses who are testifying in terms of just people on the internet being unkind. I think that that's certainly, yeah, I don't think that that's a bad point. I just, my position on it is that more access, the better. I do think in a case like this, particularly where there's been such, it's been so publicized up until the arrest, people in front of, our faces and in our ears for 6 years. I do think that it could really be beneficial for the trial to be fully broadcast so that, just to kind of balance out the insanely prejudicial years leading up to, and even since Rick's arrest, but okay, so I got an update, Michael, so I'm going to pause so that I can read our Twitter update about what's going on inside. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I got to go in a second anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, so before you go, then
got to go vote.
I know. Oh, good. Okay, you got to vote. Yeah, everybody go vote today. So before you go, Michael. Oh, he went. Okay, never mind. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate you. Everybody say thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. Go vote. And let's switch gears for a second because Donnie posted a thing. Things happening in Delphi. Attorney Andrea Burkhart filed a motion to access public records. These being trial exhibits, they're currently held for a short time so that credentialed media can view them. Judge Gold ordered a member of the public, also an attorney. Oops. also an attorney and content creator, I believe, to leave the courtroom Saturday after they attempted to view the exhibits. Also, motion in limine by Rick Allen's attorney stating they believe the state intends to play a looped, enhanced version of the video from Liberty's phone that may include a looped spoken phrase from one of the victims. The defense's witnesses should not be asked to try and identify that voice, identify the voice or what's being said, rather that it should be left up to the jurors to decide. Very true. Hi, Michael.
Hi. So what was the update?
It wasn't really an update. It was just one of our friend Donnie Burgess, he just tweeted about Andrea's motion. So it seems like the media is picking up and starting to report on it. So that's excellent.
Well, if the audio is a public record, the mainstream media, the TV stations, they should have all been suing. They should join this thing.
I agree. Sorry, clicky clacking. I totally agree with you. I'm surprised they haven't so far, but maybe this will provide them, I don't know, the platform to do so.
And if it's the subject, if it's a proper subject of an original action, and they got a ton of lawyers, they should be doing the original action.
Yeah, I agree.
But as I said in the chat yesterday, lawsuits suck.
Mm-hmm.
They take a lot of time. They take a lot of energy.
Yeah, they do. Thank you, CB. CB says, I don't think a court reporter could certify audio. I have no idea about that. Do you know, Michael, about this comment?
Well, there's no reason a court reporter couldn't put a signature line certifying this is the audio I recorded. On the thing. There's no. I don't know, the certification. I just don't know what the public records law. I should know more about it.
It's okay.
Maggie Smith and Tara probably know more about the public records law. They did the first original action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was incredibly thorough. And it's like, how are they going to do audio when Judge Gold plays a white noise machine for sidebars so you can't hear anything? It's crazy. Okay.
Well, no, that's fine. You shouldn't be able to hear anything. You shouldn't be able to hear what the sidebar said. Now the sidebar should be recorded for the appeal,
right?
But the jurors shouldn't be. They're talking about stuff the jurors shouldn't hear, and it's really. I don't think the sidebars are quite a public record. They're not. They're not testimony or questioning.
Right.
I think they're different. So I don't want to hear. I do want to hear the sidebars, but another point of view, I don't.
They can't even hear the witnesses, so they're sure as hell not going to hear the sidebars. Yeah. Right.
But as far as the audio of the video, does somebody have an answer about why? The question I've been asking for a little while now. Why the Snapchat picture of Abby is so clear and the video is so pixelated?
I don't have an answer to that, Michael. I think that what the explanation that we've been given is that the bridge guy video was taken from he's so far away in it that it's they had to zoom in a lot on it. That's kind of how I understand it. The photo of Abby was focused on Abby, whereas the distance of bridge guy in the video made it the camera was not focused and it was zoomed in, so it was very pixelated. That's how I understand it. But
so what we've been seeing is a blow up. This is what I thought, and that is we've been seeing a blow up of the bridge guy video. It isn't actually the original Bridge Guy video because he's actually a lot farther away.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been looking at this thing that looks kind of menacing on the one hand because it's up close, except it wasn't up close and may not have been menacing at all.
Right. Right, exactly. I mean, even cropping and selectively sharing the Bridge Guy video is suggestive. You know, if they're going to share any part of it, and I don't know why they did that. You know, the reasoning we've been given for a very long time for a lot of the decisions they make, Michael, is that they're trying to preserve, you know, the dignity and you know, privacy of the victims and the family. And I understand that, but it doesn't make any sense because it seems as though the only thing that you see in the video is like you see Abby, or at least part of Abby, and Bridge Guy behind her. So I just can't imagine what the reasoning was. I assign at this point with this investigation, I assign nefarious motives to everything, or at least maybe not nefarious, but certainly there's always manipulation of some kind, you know, and whether they believe their reasons are justified or not, it's like, what hasn't been manipulated at this point? I can't think of anything that they've said or done that hasn't been somehow manipulated or censored or altered.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But the other thing is, if you're trying to ID somebody, in other words, they put the photo and the little clip of Bridge Guy out there, the blown up version, to identify him. I mean, put out the original too, because how he appears at a distance may be actually easier to identify him from than the pixelated video we have.
I agree. Okay, I'm going to keep reading this because we're probably going to get a break soon-ish. So let's see.
Okay, I'm going to hop off and watch.
Okay, thank you, Michael, so much. Everybody say thank you, Michael. Good luck today. Go vote, Michael. Have a good day. We appreciate you. And I look forward to watching this unfold. So, oops. Okay. Share. Where did it go? Here it is. All right. So we left off at number 10 where she's talking about, I want to read 10 again because it's really good. So, however, I believe that permitting the public to witness the trial through the transcription or audio recordings of the proceedings will decrease the distractions in the courtroom and improve the dignity of the proceedings, consistent with Rule 2.173A, by decreasing the demand for access to the courtroom, and will further alleviate the burden on the court and the community resulting from competition for limited public seating that is necessary for direct access to information about the trial. This will further benefit the community by freeing up the limited courtroom seating for those local residents who have been traumatized by this crime and for whom personal attendance at the trial will be healing. For anyone who's just came in, Michael is a federal habeas attorney. Michael filed a brief, right? A brief related to, when was that? That was in March, April, February? Michael, if you're still in here, remind me exactly when that was. But he filed an amicus brief, amicus, I don't know how to say it, amicus brief related to the contempt information that was January-ish. Yeah. Basically the contempt proceedings, the unlawful kind of unprecedented, absurd way that the prosecutor and the judge kind of overstepped and stepped outside the bounds of the law to harass and file contempt against Richard Allen's defense attorney. So Michael filed an amicus brief. It was really good. I will link it in a little bit. I don't know what the ones are for, but I like seeing them. Okay. I want to talk about, oh, that's so nice, Sammy. Thank you. Any chance that we will see cameras allowed for public viewing? I assume no, but all right. So reading. This will further benefit the community. Yes, the public, the locals, especially the public in the community that were most directly impacted by this should be able to bear witness. Number 11, with the commencement of the evidentiary phase of trial, the court has admitted several exhibits proffered by the state and the defense on October 1st. Okay, I already read that. The orders make no provision for any member of the public to view the exhibits on the same terms as the access granted to the media. So the media can view the trial exhibits at the conclusion of each trial day for 15 minutes, but the public does not have that option, as we know, because a member of the public was denied access Saturday. 12. Yes, Michael filed a brief representing the lawyers. Thank you so much, Michael. Okay. 12. During the trial, paper exhibits have been published to the jury by simply handing them the exhibit or copies of it to review. These exhibits cannot be seen by the public seated in the gallery of the courtroom. Digital exhibits have been published on a large screen that's oriented to face the jury box. This screen has not been visible to some of the seats in the gallery. Consequently, the only way for the members of the public attending the trial to be assured of their ability to view the exhibits that have been introduced is through public access, similar to that afforded to the media attendees. So even the public sitting in the courtroom are not able to view the exhibits a lot of times as they're being presented. Crazy. 13. I was present, Andrea Burkhart was present, in the courtroom at the conclusion of trial day on October 18th, 2024, and observed that the proceeding for viewing the exhibits was to place the exhibits on a table in front of the jury box and invite the media to the well to view them for the allotted time period. 14. I am informed and believe that a member of the public attempted to enter the well to view the trial exhibits on Saturday, October 19th, 2024, at the conclusion of the trial day on the same terms as the media, and was prohibited from doing so by this court, which ordered the individual to leave. 15. Indiana rules on access to court records establish no basis for distinguishing between the media and the public in affording access to public records. I am going to put this in the chat. Did I say whale? Sorry, I meant well. Is it a blue whale or a beluga whale? Hi, Sleuthy. Welcome. Welcome, my love. I love this. Everyone copy pasta this and throw it at the media today as they're trying to claim that because they have a special media journalist license that they're somehow more legally entitled to and deserving of and allotted the opportunity to view public exhibits that are and should be accessible to the public. Heck no, that's not what your own state laws say. Likewise, quote, it has generally been held that the First Amendment does not guarantee the press a constitutional right of special access to information not available to the public generally. The First Amendment right of access to criminal trials is a right held by the public, not the media. I want to just quote this entire thing. Yes, we were talking about this last night. Indiana media members did a caste system. I'm not sure who's on the witness list, Carol, because the media has not reported on the witness list yet, even though they've been able to access it and view it and hear it and see it. I'm not sure. It's a great question. 16. It is my intention and desire to view the exhibits under the same conditions as those afforded to the media. My doing so imposes no additional burden on the court, as I would simply enter the well to view the exhibits the same as members of the media are allowed to do. This court's prior exclusion of a member of the public from the same viewing opportunity deters me from doing so out of fear that I will be banned from the courtroom and prevented from continuing to report on the events of the trial. hey, Judge Gull, we're fucking scared of you. You're unreasonable and unhinged, and we're afraid of you, is basically how I'm interpreting it. Well, no, by the way, I take that back. Andrew's not afraid of anybody, period. But this is a very valid and not at all an unreasonable concern to have, that if she tries to exercise her right as a member of the public to view the exhibits, the Judge Gull will retaliate and ban her from the proceedings, and then we'll lose all our access. Number 17. By this motion, I am requesting to modify the court's order, the court's October 16th, 2024 order to permit members of the public who have obtained seats allocated to the public for that trial day to view the exhibits on the same terms and under the same conditions as the access afforded to the media. Andrea is also taking up for the standing up for the locals and the families in this motion, 100%. Number 18. I have reviewed. This is my favorite part. Number 18. Oops. Y'all, hold on 1 second. Don't go away. All right. Number 18. I have reviewed the published order denying writ of mandamus and prohibition filed by the Supreme Court of Indiana on December 11th, 2023, under Supreme Court case number 23S-OR-302. That was the original action that was filed last year. That proceeding concerned the omission of court records from the chronological case summary in the present cause, while ruling that the petition was moot because, subsequent to the petition's filing, this court restored the omitted items to the chronological case summary and made them publicly accessible. The Supreme Court nevertheless reviewed the requirements to seal court records from public access, stating in conclusion, quote, "We expect all Indiana courts to comply with these rules." Okay, bitch. Yes. Boone to a bar. Boone did. I wasn't sure. I had to make sure he didn't. We're good. We're in the clear. Number 19. In the present matter, the entire case has not been sealed pursuant to Rule 5A, and the requested materials, audio recordings, or transcripts of the trial proceedings required under Criminal Procedure Rule 5 and the exhibits admitted at trial do not fall under any of the enumerated documents that may be sealed pursuant to Rule 5B of the Indiana Rules on Access to Court Records. Consequently, the materials may only be withheld from public access after following the notice and hearing procedure required by Rule 6 and based upon findings. So these are the requirements for records to be sealed. Number 1, the public interest will be substantially served by prohibiting access. Number 2, access or dissemination of the court record will create a significant risk of substantial harm to the requester or persons or the general public. Or 3, a substantial prejudicial effect to ongoing proceedings cannot be avoided without prohibiting public access. No such proceeding has occurred in the present case, and in any event, the required findings cannot be made because both the trial proceedings and the exhibits are already available to the media in the public in attendance. Exactly. Okay, bitch. Sidebar for a second. This part I like. So this kind of supports my beef with Judge Gull and her court reporter Jody withholding and hiding the transcripts from Dr. Monica Walla's testimony in that open public hearing that occurred on July, I believe she testified July 31st, 2024. Dr. Monica Walla was Rick Allen's prison psychologist in the DOC. And she testified for hours in a public hearing in front of the judge and the media and the public in Carroll County back in July. Judge Gull's reason given for prohibiting the public from obtaining those transcripts of Dr. Walla's testimony was that the parties were in agreement, which is not a thing. They can't do that. And that the testimony related to mental health records or something. But again, that argument is ridiculous because the hearing was public. It already occurred. The public already witnessed it and heard it. And like she says here, the trial proceedings and the exhibits, they already were available to the media and the public that were in attendance. So you can't go back and like unpickle your pickle and seal something that's already been made public, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm glad that she put that in there because this is a pattern of behavior for Judge Gull. Clearly. Number 20, I respectfully submit that this request must be granted under the applicable rules here cited herein and the Supreme Court's order to you, Judge Gull. I further submit that this request is consistent with the strong societal reasons for allowing public access to court records, recognized by the commentary to Rule 1 of the Indiana Rules on Access to Court Records and the Supreme Court's order. Wherefore, based on the foregoing, the court is respectfully requested to enter an order providing as follows. Number 1, granting the motion to intervene for the limited purpose of requesting public access to court records in the present cause. Number 2, directing the court reporter or clerk of the court to provide a digital copy of the transcript or electronic recording of the trial proceedings each day by email, cloud-based storage medium, or a thumb drive provided for that purpose. And 3, allowing members of the public who are present in the courtroom each trial day to view the trial exhibits on equal footing with the access afforded to the media under the court's October 16th, 2024 order. Respectfully submitted this, what's today, 21st day of October, Andrea Burkhart. Certificate of service. Beautiful. Filed. Carroll Circuit Court. What do we think is going to happen? Gull 21. Gull will not have to yell at Ali Mata. Where is if you are just like tuning in for the first time, welcome. We've got a bunch of people in here. So as our friend MB says, Zippy's move next. So Andrea Burkhart, let me link her channel, has just filed a motion to intervene as a member of the public in order to request access to trial transcription or recordings of the proceedings. Okay, Andrea Burkhart. If you're not following Andrea, you need to go follow her. She's providing really high quality legal analysis and reporting from inside the Delphi courthouse. Goal will simply ignore, goal will simply ignore, goal will simply ignore. So note what happens now is the question everyone's asking. My understanding from what Michael said and just from what we've seen and heard and known and researched in the past, Judge Gull has to issue an order on this motion, on this request. She can ignore it. She probably, I mean, I could see her doing that, but it probably wouldn't look very good. She can deny it summarily for a multitude of reasons. When she could deny it for, I don't know. I'm not gonna opine. I'm not a lawyer. She could deny it. She could grant it. She could ignore it. And if she denies it, then I believe I believe that, as Michael stated earlier, that would be grounds for an original action or a federal injunction. I think he said original action today. So they could just take it. She could take it up the chain. The media coalition or a media cohort could, as we saw with Aisha Hasni and Fox 59's suit that they brought against Carroll County in 2017 through 2019 or 2020, when Carroll County was denying the public access to the 911 calls in the Flora fire case. Hasni filed a motion for leave to intervene as herself, as a member of the media and a member of the public. And what ended up happening was Fox 59 and other media entities kind of joined in on that motion and on that suit. And yeah, they could do that here. I would expect and I would hope that they would, because Andrea has provided a really good foundation for them to do so. It's unfortunate that nobody found it necessary or important or had the balls to do it before Andrea, but Andrea certainly has has the balls and has the skill and has the wherewithal to fight for access for the public and for the community that was affected by the murders. Melanie Little and Andrea Burkhart. Oh, Melanie Little and Ali Mata, I think you mean, Chrissy. But yes, Melanie Little streamed together. Oh, wait. Last night in the chat was directing us here. Oh, that's so nice. That's nice to hear. I think the media is, much like Andrea said in her motion, this was DB, not me. Much like Andrea said in this motion about how, given how Judge Gull threw Ali Mata out of the viewing well when she tried to view the public exhibits, Andrea basically, not verbatim, I'm paraphrasing, said, like, this gives me pause and this makes me fearful that if I try and view public exhibits that I'm going to be banned from the courtroom and then I'll lose my access. I think that this is kind of the general fear or the general reason that media has not done more yet. That's okay, Chrissy. I knew what you meant. We knew what you meant. The media is likely afraid that if they, flout her orders or do something to annoy or irritate or piss her off or demand what is publicly or what is legally should be public access, that she'll retaliate and ban them. They will lose their access, their limited access they have. Is that an unreasonable fear? No. Is that justification for sitting on their hands and doing nothing? No. Is that justification for blaming the public and siloing further their reporting and being a bunch of catty mean girls and treating the public like second-class citizens? No. Yeah, another reporter apparently is the one that tattled on Ali Mata when she tried to... Ali Mata, a licensed attorney who's in the courtroom viewing the proceedings, providing legal analysis and reporting for us, members of the public, was thrown out of the well, was not allowed to view the exhibits. It's so outrageous. It's so offensive. I don't even know where to begin. But I wanted to just bring something up that I just thought of. So this morning, we read the defense motion in Limine about the video and audio that was extracted and obtained off of Libby's phone. The defense is requesting that the court prohibit witnesses from testifying about what they hear, their subjective analysis, and eliminating out the altered, edited version of the video and audio that the state is trying to put forth. The reason I'm bringing this up is I saw a little bit of conversation on Twitter earlier where I don't know that the media that's reporting on this fully understands what that motion was about, what the defense was requesting, or the reason that the defense said what they said in that motion. So at one point, the motion in limine, actually, let me just pull it up. I just want to read that one part, because I think that for anyone that wasn't here earlier.
But the dude has coke dealer hair.
But the dude has coke dealer hair.
But the dude has coke dealer hair.
He does indeed. So the exact phrase that the defense uses in their motion is, one of the audio enhancement files. So they enhance the audio. One of the audio enhancement files received by the defense from the state contains a phrase seemingly uttered by one of the victims. That phrase is repeated on a loop. So the words allegedly spoken by the victims on the enhanced video are very difficult to understand. The defense requests the court prohibit the state from eliciting testimony concerning what words are spoken by the girls. That's it. And prohibiting testimony of what sounds are contained in the enhanced video with the man's voice, because they're subjective, if that makes sense. I'm going to link this. I'm not going to read the whole thing again. But what I suspect is behind this is the state has based their entire theory of this crime and their case against Rick Allen on their belief, their alleged belief, on their belief that Rick Allen is the bridge guy, that he led the girls, forced the girls down the hill, across the creek to the crime scene where they were ultimately found, and that he accidentally, inadvertently, I guess, ejected a unspent round from his gun during the whatever frenzy that nobody heard. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, DB. And that casing that was found at the crime scene is connected to his gun, right? So it's very, very, very important to the state that they can claim that the person on the bridge, that bridge guy, that the suspect had a gun. The reality is there's nothing really to indicate that bridge guy, I mean, one, there's nothing to indicate that he killed the girls, but two, there's nothing that indicates that bridge guy had a gun. There's not. Apparently you can't see a gun in the video. You don't hear a gun cocking on the video, despite what the state tried to claim at one time. And if the state can imprint in the jurors' minds that what one of the victims is saying has the word gun in it, well, then there you go. He must have had a gun. Because if he doesn't have a gun, then that bullet can't have come from his gun, and that there goes their entire case against Rick Allen. I hope that I explained that correctly. But this is just something that I made ages ago. This was probably made back in like April 2023 when Nick McClellan, the prosecutor, filed all of those motions for leave to subpoena third-party records from Westville and CVS. And it was just, he was trying to get Rick Allen's mental health records. But in those motions, he includes versions of the PCA that were never seen before. And they're different versions. There are different versions. There's discrepancies in the PCA and so I'm just going to really quick go through the discrepancies. So the October 13th, 2022 affidavit for the search warrant of Rick Allen's house. Near the end of the video, a man is heard in the video telling the girls down the hill, right? That's what it says. There's no mention of the word gun or hearing a gun at all in that version of the PCA. So this is this is the affidavit for the search warrant for Rick Allen, and here's the version of the PCA that was included October 13th, 2022. No mention of gun, no mention of hearing a gun. But then, October 28th, 2022, in the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Rick Allen, as the male subject approaches victim 1 and 2, one of the victims mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, guys, down the hill. The girls then begin to proceed down the hill and the video ends. It will be interesting to see how much of this actually is seen in the video, but this is the first mention of a victim allegedly saying or mentioning the word gun. There's no mention of hearing any gun being cycled. Here it is. October 28th, PCA for the arrest of Rick Allen. One of the victims mentions gun. Okay. Apparently it's very difficult to hear and it's subjective, but the state put it in their PCA for the arrest of Rick. And then finally, on April 20th, 2023, in Nick McClellan's motion for third-party records of Westville, quote, as the male subject approaches victim 1 and 2, one of the girl victims mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls down the hill. The girls then proceed down the hill and the video ends. Except this version now includes, quote, they believe Richard Allen was carrying his 6-hour model P226 on the day Due to the cycled round matching the firearm located within feet of victim 2's body, they further believe he was carrying the Sig Sauer model P226 from the audio from victim 2's video, which investigators believe they hear the sound of a gun being cycled and one of the victims mentioning gun. Investigators believe that after that time, victim 1 and 2 were removed from the bridge by Richard to where their murders occurred. That's an insane amount of subjective guesswork based on nothing evidentiary. And why did that only appear? Yes, I will read it again, and I will zoom in too if y'all are having trouble seeing it. So the final version of the PCA that we saw that was included for some reason in the prosecution's motion for third-party records from Westville. They were trying to get Rick Allen's mental health records in April 2023. So the PCA version that was in that motion now says, as the male subject approaches victim 1 and 2, one of the girls mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the guys down the hill. The girls then begin to proceed down the hill and the video ends, except this version now also includes, quote, they believe Richard Allen was carrying his Sig Sauer model P226 on that day due to the cycled round matching that firearm was located within feet of victim 2's body. They further believe that he was carrying the Sig Sauer model P226 from the audio from victim 2's video, in which investigators believe they hear the sound of a gun being cycled and of one of the victims mentioning the word gun. Investigators believe after that time, victim 1 and 2 were removed from the bridge by Richard to where their murders occurred. So now the allegation is that the victims mentioned the word gun and that you can hear a gun being cycled in the audio. Insane. Absolutely insane. Rough morning inside the courthouse, says Odd Structure. Comet just did a live. Well, let's pull it up. I believe that's on their Facebook page, right? This woman. I'll talk about this woman later on, but let's see what she has to say. I'm not sharing her page.
Amy McCarty reporting from the Carroll County Courthouse. It was a rough morning inside the courthouse today as the state began to show crime scene photos from February 14th, 2017. Families were visibly emotional, as were some of the jurors. The images were graphic. And so I think it's going to be a good afternoon for a nice long lunch break, as Judge Gall has broke for an hour and a half. That's a little unusual for her. She usually keeps it to about an hour, but she said that the jury had a long morning, and those images were really, really hard to see. As a mom, super, super difficult. And so we're going to be back this afternoon. The Indiana State Police crime scene investigator who was on the scene, who photographed the scene and collected evidence, is on the stand. It is time for a cross-examination by the defense, and that will continue after the lunch break at 1:30. So just continue to stay connected to the Carroll County Comet, as we will bring you updates as we are able to exit the courtroom throughout the day. Thank you so much.
I take issue. Sorry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I take issue with. It's very sad. Of course, they were emotional. Probably DB, if I were to guess. Hi, Chrissy. Yep, that's exactly right. Why aren't we saying who the Indiana State Police crime scene witness is? Why aren't we saying who he is? So what, we just showed pictures and that's all that happened this morning? You have an hour and a half lunch break, Amy. Is that the best you can do? I'm sorry. I'm so tired of everybody. Let's see. 1 minute ago, Kit Hanley said, new. Jurors heard testimony from the first deputy on the scene Thank you. Deputy Darren Giancola. Wait, I thought the first deputy on the scene was Catrone. Help. Didn't we hear Mitch Catrone, or maybe he wasn't the first one on the scene? Can anyone clarify that for me? I'm all messed up. I thought that Mitch Catrone, or Catron, or whatever his name is, who testified at the end of day 1, was the first on the scene. Apparently it was Darren Giancola. I would love to get clarification on this. They take up 12 seats just to post 6 tweets with 5 errors and 0 details. 100%. There is some discrepancy. Okay, Catrone was the first one to arrive when they were missing. Okay. Darren was the first one with the bodies. Okay, thank you, source. And State Police Investigator Sergeant Jason Page. Thank you, Kit Hanley, whose reporting has been probably better than most that I've seen. This is also true. I've also heard this, Carol. Kit gave us the name of both witnesses this morning, Deputy Darren Giancola and State Police Investigator Sergeant Jason Page. 42 crime scene photos were shown in court, including close-ups of the girls. That was, I'm sure, horrific and very horrible and hard to see. So the public, I imagine, and the media, who are the public. Sleuthy says, when they were missing, so how did they get pics of the girls when they were found? I don't know. I'm confused by everything because of how this is being reported. Mainstream media is like, here's what we think you need to know. How did they admit through these witnesses? I don't know, man. I imagine we're going to get a thread here in a second. So below are Russ McQuade's observations. Abby was dressed in what appeared to be damp clothing. How do you know that? This is bullshit. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people in here have seen the crime scene photos now, not close up ones, but is this Russ McQuade's personal observation that Abby was in damp clothing? Have we heard that before? Yeah, I don't want your stupid opinions, Russ McQuade. Bloodstains were on the girls, ground, and trees. No shit. Tree branches were set up in V's or crossed on the girls, some large branches. Y'all are embarrassing. I don't even want the media to report on it. I'm almost, according to who? I'm sorry. According to who? The state needs the public and the jury to think that the clothes were damp because they need the girls to have crossed the creek. Does everybody understand this? I'm sorry. Like, just give us your objective observations. I want the testimony of the witnesses and not Steve Mullen. Get all eyes to threaten them with a crash course on the case. All they do is spin things to suck law enforcement stick and pacify the lazy. I'm very, very confused on what is being reported. So you saw crime scene photos. So yeah, I don't want your opinions. I don't care what you think about their clothes, whether they were, I don't care. It's 100% leading. Everything is that they're that really makes me mad. They're evidence the crime actually happened, which I hate to say is almost necessary, but if they're solely emotionally charged and prejudicial, what other purpose do they serve? Media giving opinions. Yeah. So here's something that we know for sure. Appeared to be damp is not good enough because the bodies and the clothing were processed. Tell me yes or no. What was the condition of the clothing? Period. I don't care what Russ McQuade says about photos that he saw from the courtroom of the girls. I don't care about Russ McQuade. Russ McQuade's wrong 6 out of 7 days a week. I'm sorry. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I didn't see any dampness in the clothes. Then again, I didn't see the photos that the jury and the public saw today. So Abby is wearing Libby's black Delphi swim sweatshirt and appears to have her own shirt on underneath, I think, and Libby's jeans Abby's wearing, and Abby's wearing her own shoes, I think. Kyla is also reporting the clothes looked damp. Yeah, exactly. Textile moisture testing is a real thing. You know how easy it would be to clarify? David Nolan said Rob Ives was on the scene before the bodies were removed. Did they report that this morning, David? Is that what you're getting that from? Damp, like maybe from the morning frost and fog? Who knows? But apparently the media felt that 3 hours of witness testimony, that was the most important thing for them. If it was cold overnight, I'd expect them to be damp. Why test things when you can just look at them? Did the state say that they were damp when they looked at the photos? Did they implant that in the jury's mind? Are they opining damp as they cross the river? Okay, thank you, David. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the jury questions either. They've been really good. So it sounds like Nick's entire morning was showing the jury in the gallery graphic crime scene photos. That was his entire thing. I would love to hear what objections were raised. What arguments were made? The tree branches looked like patterns on the girls. Interesting. Almost like they were intentionally placed in patterns. One could argue symbols, maybe runes. I don't know. Embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm getting really snarky. If it's your first time here, I don't know what to tell you. I'm incredibly frustrated. Hello, Sandra. Welcome. All right. Let's see the hashtag, the Delphi hashtag. Let's see what's going on X. Russ McQuaid says that the mood in the court, the mood in the courtroom was subdued during testimony with some shock expressed at the photos. He says that Allen observed the photos as they were shown, but showed no significant reaction in his opinion. I don't even want to read this anymore. I don't even want to read this reporting anymore. I'm so upset. It's getting worse. They are getting worse. I don't want Tom Webster's opinion on Rick Allen's reactions. I don't want Russ McQuaid's opinion on the defendant's reactions. I don't care. Body language, behavioral, now that's all bullshit. I don't care. How do they know? If he had a reaction, they'd report that he was malingering it. So who the fuck cares? Exactly. What if he recoiled at the photos? What if he got emotional? Like, she just deleted this one, Fiend? Are you sure? Are you not talking to me? It's still there for me, unless you're talking about something else, Fiend. Screenshot it? Okay. I don't know if I know how to do that on this. Do it over here. Can someone else do it? Screenshot my screen. I don't know how to do it on this keyboard. Screenshot everything. How is body language? Shit, if your body's telling me you're pissed right now, you know what? Great point. Thank you, DB. Hey, Shay. Good thing we have it memorialized on this video. That's true. DB did it. Thank you, DB. My hero. Okay, so Russ McQuaid is saying that in his opinion, his opinion. I'm going to get blocked. Sorry, y'all. If I get blocked, y'all are going to have to tell me what I missed. you spell McQuaid? Can't wait to get blocked. She left out in his opinion. Okay, thank you, Fiend. So disturbed. I'm really disturbed. Yeah, it is irrelevant. So they saw pictures today and probably not much else happened. I mean, I would imagine. You saw pictures and that was probably the entirety of the morning. So why are we talking about? Yeah, there's going to be really few spaces I'm going to be allowed to inhabit on the internet pretty soon as it relates to this case. Is that the only update? Has anyone seen any actual updates other than that non-update? Holy shit. Who did we see this morning? I know Julie. Julie usually takes really good notes. Andrea takes excellent notes. I'm not sure who else got in today. Judge Jessica. I think Lee got in as well as Bob. Oh, thank God. Thank you. Bob Siegel reported crime scene photos being shown, the jury having a strong reaction to it. Thank you, Annette. Lauren from Hidden True Crime was just online. Brutally honest, I appreciate you. I'm happy you're here. Thank you for sharing that with us. Personally, I don't want to hear a fucking thing that Hidden True Crime has to say about this case. That's just my opinion. I've been really disappointed in their reporting and their irresponsible diagnosing of the defendant. You would think that a forensic psychologist would know better than to opine as to whether or not an individual that they've never met, assessed, evaluated in any capacity, haven't even followed the case very long. You'd think a psychologist would know better than to say whether or not he's malingering. But thank you for sharing that. And if she gave an update, I mean, it's an update's an update. Andrea takes great notes. I think too many seats were given to the media as the reporting's been ridiculous. The reporting has sucked. I'm very disappointed in Hidden Crimes. Oh my God, Angela, get out of my head. I didn't, I think that I've been disappointed, particularly in her counterpart. I don't know her husband's name, John, maybe? She should probably start her own channel. That's my opinion. Hello, new friends who joined. Welcome. Happy you're here. Show me the science. Am I right? Mandy. I appreciate all the lawyers here. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that as well. So I understand. Agree. It was pretty disappointing. But thank you for letting us know that she is inside and that she is reporting out. That is helpful. Wankas. Carla B. Russell is also reporting. Didn't look damp to me, says Criminal Network. Counter. Just got here. What have I missed? Deanna Burdette. Welcome. You've missed a lot of ranting and raving, or ranting and raging on my part. Yeah, even if Mr. Allen would have reacted, it would have been exploited. Yep. However Mr. Allen reacted would have been exploited. This is really, really, really awful reporting. They were inside for 3 hours. They have an hour and a half lunch break, and this is what we get for an update. I'm disappointed in Kit. I'm disappointed in Russ, although Russ is Russ. Russ gonna Russ. Wow. Updates from session 1, says Kyla. Okay, thank you. The first witness called by the state was Deputy Darren Giancola. He was the first deputy to arrive on the scene after the girls' bodies were found. Then came at least 42 graphic photos of the crime scene. They were taken by ISP crime scene investigator Josh Page. Below are my observations. So they basically are getting together and deciding how to report, right? Libby was naked. Abby's clothes looked damp. There were at least 4 bloodstains on the ground or nearby trees. Libby had significant blood on her hands and neck. Libby also had blood stains, not as many as Abby also had blood stains, not as many as Libby. Branches were placed on top of the girls, more so on Libby. Libby's mom and sister were visibly emotional. Richard Allen's mom and stepdad were holding hands as photos were shown. Rick Allen did not have much reaction to the photos. I am almost to the point where I don't even want to show media updates on this channel anymore because I feel like I'm perpetuating absolute fucking bullshit fuckery nonsense. That's kind of where I'm at. Ashley says, I have yet to see the photos. I've not heard anyone state the clothing was damp or wet. I asked that very question, was told that Libby's hair appeared saturated. That's cause for broad interpretation. Yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore. I am no longer going to be sharing media updates like this. Ange did a perpetuate. She perpetrated a perpetuate. I'm actually being really reserved. I'm exercising great restraint this morning, discussing the media. It's great restraint. Bob just posted. All right. Where at? On YouTube or Twitter? This is so stupid, y'all. Are we in crazy world? Are we in crazy world, y'all? I'm so frustrated. Holy shit. Bob posted where? I don't see him on Twitter. I don't see him on YouTube because Allie's streaming. So I wonder. Twitter, okay. This is really, really frustrating. I'm glad. So we get cross-examination in the afternoon. Cool. All right. Thank you, Bob. I'm going to give Bob shit too, by the way, if he says the clothes look damp. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think or what you perceive. I want to know what the crime scene analysis and the crime scene examination and actual science has to say. Trial update. Long morning, no morning break, straight into an extended lunch until 1. 2 witnesses took the stand during the morning. Carroll County Sheriff Deputy Darren Giancola first. He was off duty on 2/13 and saw that 2 girls had gone missing from Delphi on social media page. He called into the department to assist. At the department, the iPad that Libby let Abby used had been turned over but was locked. Several phone numbers appeared as notifications on the lock screen. All the numbers were family members looking for the girls. He could not get into the iPad. He then made his way to the trails in the High Bridge. His route into the trails was focused on heavily. He was walking on the south side of Deer Creek with other law enforcement officers and civilian searchers. They searched until 2 a.m. He noticed on the northeast side of the bridge a disturbance on a downward slope heading towards the creek. It appeared someone had slid down as leaves and debris appeared cleared. He pointed it out to a firefighter and told no other law enforcement that night. The search resumed at 7:30. So this was on a slope where? Heading down towards the creek. Was it above the private drive or below it? Where was this disturbed earth? Was it above or below the private drive? And how did they... Okay, sorry. Continuing. Second witness was Jason Page, CSI for ISP. He was the photographer of the crime scene and responsible for barricading off the crime scene. So he was the photographer and the securer of the crime scene. A 30 square foot perimeter around where the girls were discovered was cordoned off within the larger scene and was called Ground Zero. 40 plus crime scene photos were entered into evidence, including many of the girls in the scene around them. The photos were devastating. The question of whether the sticks and tree limbs placed on the girls will be left to the jury to decide if they appeared purposefully placed or tossed in an attempt to cover the bodies. I have my opinion, but that matters not. Bob, who's not a credentialed member of the media, he's just an attorney reporting on the case, is behaving more responsibly than the media. Yeah. 30 square foot ground zero inside the larger area though, right? Did he say northeast side? Oh, wait. Hold on, y'all. Noticed on the northeast side of the bridge, a disturbance on a downward slope heading towards the creek. That's the wrong side of the bridge. Okay, so I had a reporter who was there taking photos on the 14th and 13th say to me once, north side. And when I asked him to clarify and correct him, and he said, no, it was the north side. So I'm wondering, so it sounds like that this disturbance was on the north side of the bridge. Derek went down the northeast side, but did he go down? We have a lot of questions because that definitely says northeast side, and the northeast side is not the side of the bridge where they're claiming that down the hill occurred. Northeast side of the bridge, but on the south side. Well, now I'm even more confused, Judas. Now I'm even more confused. Can you pull up a map? If anyone has a really good map, you can send it. I don't even think I have a good map. So the northeast side of the bridge on the south side of the bridge. Yeah, it's so convoluted. I can explain that. Who does? Okay. 30 square feet is 5 by 6. Yeah, so I think that this is just clunky in its description, but if he's talking about down the hill, he stopped before. So Electric Weircat, you're talking about Derek, right? Derek stopped before going down, but he didn't see that disturbance according to his testimony. Yes, you can link it, Ems. Actually, I think I know what you're talking about too. Ah! Hey, guys. Okay. So north side of the bridge is here. South side of the bridge is here. And the northeast side of the south side would be this side of this side, right? Sorry, I know I was muted. If you're standing at the south side facing north, I don't know. Okay. So if you're standing at the south side facing north, the disturbance is on your right. Yeah, so it's this side. Closest to the creek is where they're saying that they saw a disturbance. If one more, no offense, if one more person throws northeast, southwest for me, I don't know. That doesn't mean much. I understand that why we have to use those, but that has zero meaning to me looking at this map. But I think we have a good understanding now, right? So this is the south side of the bridge, and the northeast side of the south side would be this over here closest to the creek, right? Which was the same side Cody and Kelsey went down when they were there looking for the girls before the police were called. So yeah, disturbance would make sense because Kelsey and Cody went down that side too. Kelsey said she saw it. Okay. Did she say it on the stand yesterday, Friday? The other thing is, where was the disturbance? Because the girls, let's say the girls go down, whether they go down to the creek or whether they go down to the private drive, they would have to take the disturbance could still be caused by either of those scenarios. Does that make sense? I know, never eat shredded wheat, but like, never eat sour worms. Okay, disturbance is on your left. If you're standing at the end of the south side facing towards the Weber's house, the disturbance would be on your left, which means, yes, it would be on your, yeah. So that disturbance at the end of the bridge could be caused by somebody going down to the creek or by somebody going down to the private drive, if I am understanding it correctly. Okay, well, it's helpful. South side of the creek has disturbances. You can tell that people go down there to hang out. There's some chairs by the creek. There's a pallet used to climb up a short, steep drop. If Andrea files an OA, do we think that Gull will cite again? Well, oh wait. If Andrea files an original action, do we think that Judge Gull will once again only cite wheat? Yes, probably. Never eat sloppy wiener. That's a good one too. Libby was the one. Nope, Abby was the one dating Brad Holder's son. There are also trails on that side for property owners to get to the creek. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons that the earth could be disturbed. And I say I don't want people I don't want to hear anyone's personal opinion, but if that's just what the report was from, if that's what the testimony was, then that's what the testimony was, and that's okay. I just feel like it's hard for me to remain neutral when I hear shit like this, because they're already setting up. Isn't it kind of crazy that the state gets to go first? I mean, I guess just in general in our criminal justice system. I don't want the reporter's opinion either. Yeah, I've officially had it. I'm not gonna, if you're looking for the opinions of the people that are in the courtroom, this is not the place for you. Yeah, I think you're right, Criminal Network. It makes me yeah. I hope objections are being raised, although I guess, so you can't really win because we already know that the state is going to prosecute this case leaning heavily and almost entirely on the emotionality of jurors. They're going to use emotion. They're going to do a gaslight. They're going to do an emotional manipulation. DB says, I keep thinking people are telling Chrissy to shut up. Oh, because of her, shut up Chrissy is her username. Yeah, that's funny. I appreciate you withholding your opinion mid-sleuthing for updates. Do I? I'm trying. I don't think I do a very good job of that. But I do agree that the mainstream media is not reporting the facts correctly. Yeah, I find it very, very concerning and disturbing. I'm headed back for These people are wild because they're reporting as if members of the public haven't already seen some crime scene photos. I'm headed back for session 2, but I wanted to quickly answer this. There were at least 3 large, long branches covering Libby in a triangle formation. The branches were at least 2 to 3 times the size of the ones on size of Libby. At least 2 large branches were covering Abby. I don't know. I counted like 7 or 8 in the photos I saw. So it's interesting that the way that they're characterizing. This is so stupid, y'all. The reporters have nothing to offer those who are seeking actual transparency. Yeah. And the defense can't really object when there's 40 graphic images of the girls deceased being shared around the courtroom. They have to just kind of sit there and... It's tragic. Why so many what, Sleuthy? Kicking the FBI off the case was a red flag, yeah. Why do they need to see... Oh, pictures. Yeah, why do they need to see 40 pictures of the crime scene? Or why do they need to see so many pictures that include the bodies? Yeah, that's my question too. Did they say 40 pictures of the bodies themselves or of the crime scene? It's a lot. That feels prejudicial. Kyla Russell said, I'll share a list and description of all new 63 exhibits entered by the state this morning in the list section. Wait, okay, Kyla. I keep saying I'm not going to share what mainstream media is reporting, but it's literally all we've got to go off of right now. I'll share a list and description of all new 63 exhibits entered by the state this morning in the first session of day 3. Many of them included graphic images from the scene. The other photos were of nearby areas. Okay, so we got a slideshow. We got a picture show today. That was the morning session. Now that Andrea filed her thing, they will share the list of exhibits. I am sad because I believe these 2 girls will never see justice. Me too. Abby looks dry. Yeah, I didn't think that her clothes looked damp either. But they were also outside all night, so God knows what happened. I don't understand why that is relevant. You should have made Nick's briefcase a lot lighter. It's funny. The more they see, the more they will see that one man couldn't have done this all on his own. I am of the opinion that the crime scene is too strange, but I do believe the state is using crime scene photos to work on the emotions of the jury. I believe that all they have are emotional arguments, and God forbid someone take issue with the way that they are prosecuting this, because if you raise the issue, then you are accused of all sorts of unfair things. And I know the state always does that. They do that in every single case. I totally agree, Sleuthy. I've never seen it like this before. And in most other cases, yes, they do that, but they also have evidence, you know? They also have evidence to support their theory, their prosecution. And I don't see any evidence here. The only thing I see is emotional manipulation and guesswork. I will say I'm glad that the jury doesn't get to see the reporting done. Same. My God. Thank God. Yeah, it's frustrating. Like, the public is getting their information from irresponsible, compromised sources, but the jury's not. Assuming that we can trust that the jury's not. And that's what matters. How does a black sweatshirt look damp? In fact, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. What question did I miss? Oh, yeah, this one. It's a good question for sure. It sure would have been nice if the coroner would have taken a body temperature to determine approximate time of death. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been good. Didn't they say it was foggy? That would certainly dampen clothes. The media has banded together with their notes to share the same information, limiting details further. Yeah, the pool notes of the media, I wish they weren't sharing notes, actually, because they're agreeing on what they're going to report. 60 plus photos of the scene, and no one saw the magic bullet. DB says it was under 32 degrees at night. I need to know the dew point and the temperature. What was the dew point? 24 hours after they're marched across the creek. Seems like it helps the defense. To someone who does not know the case, the photos most likely shows that he couldn't have done this alone. No DNA ties him there. That scene is too intricate. Since when did the search resume at 7:30 a.m.? Is that what Bob said, Sleuthy? I must have... Because everything I have says that it resumed at... The official search resumed at 10-something. When will the judge address the motion from Andrea Burkhart? Great question, Chrissy. Probably never. She could do anything about it. I don't know. I think she'll ignore it as long as she can, or she'll deny it outright quickly. Fire chief said it resumed at 10 a.m. Yeah, that's what I've always heard, due to fog. Media said it was an extra V like their letters. Yeah. Didn't they say that Abby had Libby's clothes on? Do you know how hard it is to put on wet clothing? Certainly, yeah, especially jeans. They would have been damp if they just come out of the wash. Good point. They're trying to rile up resentment toward the accused by showing graphic photos. Yes, that's absolutely true. And I think that, like Sleuthy said, that's pretty like standard for the state. You know, because these are horrific crimes and they want to convey that. But yeah. Judge Gold should be reviewing it right now on her lunch. The scene doesn't match the prosecutor's own theory. I don't even know, like, if he was interrupted, how would he have had time to kill them and put sticks on them? If he was interrupted, their case makes no sense. Yeah. The media doesn't want to lose access to law enforcement and the state actors, when in reality, their job's to hold them to scrutiny. If they don't, democracy dies. Enough said. If the judge ignores, the next step could be an original action between the Indiana Supreme Court, or I think also a federal injunction, but I think probably an OA is what we would see. Maybe. Thank you, Teresa. I really appreciate that. Our chat is so fucked up. Okay, never mind. Gola's on the phone with Russian Goatwin. Did the state even say that the crime scene was staged? I bet they never used that word. Do you think the judge will think that Andrea's Allie who got yelled at? I don't, because in Andrea's motion, she recounts the incident where Judge Gold yelled at Allie. So she makes it clear that they're not the same person. Young Black economist, hello. Interrupted by what? A ghost? It's just a random idea with zero evidence to support it. Mm-hmm. Do you realize how much activity and physical exertion it would take to do this despicable thing? 100%. And especially in the amount of time they're saying Our chat is so fucking smart. Everyone in here is really smart. What is the timeline of Andrea filing an OA? I guess it depends on what Judge Gull, her response time, what her response is. It depends if other media decide to hop on and support Andrea. Sleuths Investigate says Richard Allen shouldn't ever even be on trial right now, in my opinion. Are they even allowed to say the word staged? That's a great question, Fluffy Bunny. I don't know, and I love your avatar. I have no idea if they can even say it. Give me news. Give me quick news, please, says Emily. There's not much to report. They just showed crime scene photos all morning. That's pretty much it. And Andrea Burkhart filed a motion for leave to intervene as a member of the public for public access. The time that all of this would take is analyzed in the very first Frank's memo that the defense filed. They got a lot of shit for doing that, but everything they put in there is pretty, I would say, reasonable. So apparently he killed them with 2 different knives, gave them a bath in the creek, dressed Abby in Libby's clothes, and put decorations on them all in less than an hour, and just walked right down the road after. Sure, that's the state's theory. The FBI said the scene was staged. I highly doubt the state used the word stage, says Criminal Network. Hey, Greenie, usually just replay crew, but happy to catch a live today. Welcome. I'm happy you're here with us. Yeah, the Frank's memo, it was lengthy, especially their breakdown of how long it would take in each action that would needed to be taken by the killer or killers to redress the victims, for them to say that. Young Black Economist says, apparently Rick Allen had a mountain segue, though. That's how he covered the trail in 9 minutes. Yeah, exactly. He flew in. Is it conspiracy, or what is it? Opportunity? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Sarah Carbaugh never just said that Rick was damp or saturated. He would have been saturated if he crossed the creek. TOL. Clothes could be wet or damp. Law enforcement investigation should have that noted. Doesn't mean they crossed the creek. They could have been a bucket of water to clean them. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. Fiend said maybe maybe the clothes were washed. Maybe the clothes were damp for other reasons. Maybe a black sweatshirt saturated in blood might look damp. Also, a hairline saturated in blood the next morning might look damp. There's a lot of reasons. Unreal, we're forced to rely on mainstream media when it comes to the most significant part of the case, the scene itself. We, the public, remain bound from self-observation and conclusion. Tough one. Wonder what the FBI are thinking, being made out as fools by the Carroll County Calamity Cops and the R-word prosecutor. Yeah, I don't know. Let me get clapped for that. Mind you, only 2 feet of their bodies would be above water if they crossed the creek. Yeah. I've been gifted a membership. Thank you so much for whoever gifted. Welcome, Peg Bundy. Yeah, and then he just breaks down in solitary confinement. Sure, that makes sense. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, Sleuthy, never mind. Sleuthy already took care of it. Okay. Also of note, the defense is focusing their cross-examination today on 3 main things. Who was carrying a firearm when responding to the scene, what kind of firearm it was, and if the person's phone worked from the area of the crime scene. Okay. Pretty significant. Keep in mind, they know the answers already to all of these questions. You never ask a question you don't already know the answer to if you're a skilled attorney. I'll retweet this one. Why is the defense not attacking the timeline? Kit just replied to me on Twitter that she is checking into the testimony versus opinions about the photos today. Thank you, Chelsea. Hero. Thank you. You'd think that they would want to do that first before reporting on it, but defense did a winning. FYI, this is probably DV. It is his channel after all. Question for chat. Does anyone remember Greeno's video, a bunch of people running in a circle at the cemetery screaming loudly in the early mornings of 2/14? I don't remember that, but someone in here might. Yeah, he had time to do all of this, but he never SA'd them, which the state says was his main motivation. How does that make any sense? Interrupted at what stage? Right, they're trying to say that he was interrupted by Brad Weber on the south side. So then what? He's interrupted, so then he takes the girls across. Aaron says, I think the defense will attack the timeline in their case in chief. I think you're right, Aaron. Yeah, they have a really long lunch break to report on this, and they're not, I mean, were the branches freshly cut? I don't know. They saw almost, 42, 43 photos of the crime scene. Some were close-up images of the crime scene this morning, and all they can say is the clothes kind of looked damp. What about the fucking sticks? Don't tell me that there were 2 sticks on the girls when I saw at least 8 with my own fucking eyes. Don't fucking tell me bullshit when I've got 2 eyes and 2 ears and a mostly functioning brain most of the time. Like, what do they think? Do they really believe that none of these exhibits will ever be made public so they can report on them however they want? What are they going to do when everything becomes public and it becomes like widely known how irresponsible and subpar and mid their reporting has been? Where's the bullet in these photos? 43 crime scene photos and 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a female. Okay, true. Yeah. Hidden True Crime is saying large branches. Oh, so one 5'4" man was able to pull large branches on top of him now? They're sticks. I saw that. We saw the branches with our own eyes. For them to say 2 to 3 times the size of Libby is really irresponsible. They could have said as long as Libby. Ooh, y'all. I am on a fucking different plane this morning. My God. He's also a lumberjack. He can just cut and move, and I hope the jury saw Rick standing up. Yeah. 30 square feet of the crime scene. 3% of the girls' bodies were covered. We know. Thank you. Yes. Jinx Mandy. Rick Allen had a saw with him along with 2 knives and a gun, apparently. Right. Anyone see the horns Elvis knew about before the case broke? There are sticks on Abby's head, period. Whether they're antennas, whether they're random, whether they're antlers, whether they're horns, irrelevant. There are sticks above Abby's head. And apparently Elvis Field knew about that. I can't explain that. I'm not saying he's involved, but I can't explain that. Regarding dampness, it was hard to tell with full certainty, but partially her jeans. So she crossed an entire creek, but only part of her jeans were damp. Well, that makes even less sense than her jeans being entirely wet. What the fuck? I'm sorry. I think this was on some variation of this question was asked or something. What can't Rick Allen do according to the prosecutor? He apparently can't keep his psychopathic mind sane and under, control while he's in solitary confinement. Apparently he can manage all of this, but as soon as he gets into solitary, he loses his mind. Like, fuck out of here. He's gonna live there for 6 years, and then all of a sudden, oh good, DB, your favorite reporter just tweeted. Rough morning, rough morning. Y'all have had 7 years to prepare for this. I'm not reading this. Sorry, y'all. If y'all want to read Bob's tweets, you can go. He's fucking useless. No offense. I'm over it. Were the sticks moved to check the girls' vital signs? Were they then put back on to take pictures? Mind you, Elvis Fields told his sister about the sticks before the bodies were ever even found. Makes no sense of the phone turning back on. They had no defensive wounds, Teresa, according to the FBI's search warrant for Ron Logan. There was no evidence of a fight or no evidence of a struggle, no defensive wounds. Who do we think will be doing cross, Brad, Andy, or Ajay? Probably Andy's been doing most of the. We've seen Andy argue, I think, do most of the cross exam. Oh, Ajay. Interesting. I like that. I think that it's good. Not that men can't be empathic, sympathetic, emotionally intelligent, but I wonder it might be good to have a female do cross-examination. DB says females are better at everything. I don't disagree. Y'all, I'm going to take a short break and take Booney out and eat something. It'll probably be like 15, 20 minutes. And I'll be back. I'm going to keep the stream going. Kit says that John Cola was the one who said Abby's clothing appeared damp. Not sure why he wouldn't know that for sure. Yeah, I wonder, they didn't object to that? Probably not. They probably just wanted to let him get his testimony out. Just to be her theme. I think they know how to get up here if they want to. They both have the link. Otherwise, I'm gonna go. I will be right back. DB is like #1 girl's girl. Yeah, he's a girl's girl. Oh, I got a lot of questions, y'all. I'm sorry if this was. I wish that I had like more concrete updates to give y'all. If I hear of anything, I'll come back, but okay. Yeah, entertain yourselves in the chat, and I'll be back. Okay, bitch.
The quest to seek justice in the murders of Delphi teens Abby Williams and Libby German is once again underway in the Carroll County Courthouse. Jurors are back in court. WRTV's Caitlin Kendall just stepped out from the courtroom to bring us an update. And Caitlin, this is the third day of testimony here.
It is the third day of testimony, Mark, and I got to be honest with you. Today has been the toughest day so far. Seeing crime scene photos for the first time, it was hard for everyone watching, including the jurors and the family of Abby Williams and Libby German. Inside the courtroom today, we, of course, have our jurors, as well as the family of Abby Williams and Libby German, and also the family of Richard Allen, all there to hear this day 3 of testimony. We've heard from 2 witnesses so far this morning. The first to take to the stand was a Carroll County detective. He responded to his timeline of events, the 13th, the evening the girls went missing. He described his search efforts till about 2 o'clock in the morning with a number of other first responders. And then he testified about the 14th, ultimately being the first law enforcement officer to the discovery of the girls' bodies at the crime scene. He testified in detail a bit about what he saw, and he got emotional during his testimony, saying that when he saw Abby Williams and Libby German, they had a substantial amount of blood on their body and underneath their body. And when asked if life-saving measures were performed on the girls, he testified no, that it was apparent that the girls were both dead. After his testimony was done, the next to take to the stand was a crime scene investigator. He was responsible for taking photos of the crime scene. And this is where it got a bit grueling for everyone watching. For 90 minutes, he testified and showed photos of the crime scene, the topography of the area, showing the trees, but also the blood, also the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German, and close-ups of the body. And when that was happening, the family of Abby Williams and Libby German, many of them had to look away. Many people of the general public had to look away when these photos were being shown. It was very uncomfortable. The family crying and sobbing. You could audibly hear that in the gallery. And also from the jury, I can tell you the jury was not comfortable seeing these photos. Some of the jury members putting their hands on their faces, on their heads, squirming in their seats a bit. One juror even did a bit of a sigh when those photos were shown. So it was a tough 90 minutes. Court has now recessed until 1 o'clock. The testimony of this, of course, the first day of seeing crime scene photos, arguably the hardest day in court so far. We'll, of course, be back in the courtroom at 1 o'clock when we go back after recess, bringing the very latest on WRTV News at 5 and 6, as well as online at WRTV.com. Mark?
All right, just so sad to hear what happened to those girls. Very tough day out there. Caitlin, we'll check back in with you later today.